This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Hot one here in St. Louis. It's a day game. Quick turnaround. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us as well. Quick turnaround, no doubt about it. Cardinals had a great opportunity to take the first two games in this series. Came up short yesterday. So here this afternoon, it's Daniel Ponce de Leon, and he's earned this start this afternoon.
So you try to win the series with Ponce on the mound, and he has been so good in the Cardinals rotation in his 8 career starts. ERA under 2, high strikeout rate, and the opponent's batting average just 168. Keeps the ball in the ballpark, and he's going to see a lot of left-handers here today for the Pirates.
And that means a lot of fastballs as we break down his fastball usage. And it's the Hyundai pitch arsenal and a closer look, in particular with that four-seamer.
That's a big number, 70% fastball. You're going to see fastballs up, and you're going to see curveballs and cutters down. That's how he pitches. He gets away with it, swings and misses. Not a lot of ground balls, but he loves to jam lefties.
Cardinals could not get that big hit last night. How about here this afternoon? Searching for the big hit. Across the street we go. Ballpark Village and the studio. They'll break that down.
Starting pitching has been outstanding during this homestand. Last 5 times that we've seen Cardinal starters, they have a combined ERA of 1.01. Outstanding. Keeping the ball in the ballpark, keeping the pitch count low. Today they're going to rely on their damage from the offense. They need base runners. They need power. Cardinals baseball comes up next on Fox Sports Midwest. Dan McLaughlin will be handling the play-by-play, and we have Jim Hayes along with us. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. Danny will be here.
Boy, it is a hot day here in St. Louis, and that's a nice way to stay cool. I'm jealous. 89 degrees, and it's going to get hotter as we go along here this afternoon. Jim Hayes, Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you. Day baseball here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Daniel Ponce de Leon has worked in the bullpen and as a starter for the Cardinals. And his record 1-0, and that was coming out of the pen.
And on a day like today, I would imagine it took him about 5 pitches to get loose.
Yeah.
It is definitely a scorcher here in St. Louis. Of course, the Cardinals have been used to that over the years. Clint Hurdle, a former Cardinal, tied Chuck Tanner yesterday with win number 711, and here's his batting order. Kevin Newman will lead off. Brian Reynolds, both having very good years offensively, high averages. With Starling Marte, Jose Ozuna will play first base, so no Josh Bell. He'll be followed by the veteran, the Melky Cabrera. Colin Moran had a big hit here last night. Jung Ho Gung will get the start at shortstop. Jacob Stallings. And the pitcher, Chris Archer.
When you think about this lineup that he'll face, it's a ton of lefties, so the splits, and any way you want to look at it, they're very good for Daniel Ponce de Leon.
Well, he just doesn't give up many hits, period, or hasn't at this level. He had some control issues we saw in spring training, and when we first even saw him at the big league level, he was a little bit all over the place, but he's figured that out. There's no question about it. He is throwing more strikes, more first pitch strikes. And again, not a ground ball pitcher. He's going to jam guys, try to get guys to have weak swings and get the swing and the miss.
Kevin Newman at the top of the lineup here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So we wrap up the homestand in the series today, off to Cincinnati for 4, and then see the Pirates again for 4. And the first pitch by Daniel taken for a ball, and we're underway. And should be plenty of familiarity between Daniel Ponce de Leon and Andrew Knizner. The battery today, of course, Molina on the IL. And Wieters is the backup this afternoon, and that's popped foul and out of play. So 5th start of the year for Daniel Ponce de Leon, filling in for Wainwright Friday, 6 2/3. 3 hits, the 1 run. That was a Christian Walker homer. Struck out 7, and I love to see no walks. Took a no decision that night. You may recall that Jake Lamb late in that game to face Andrew Miller, and Miller gave up his 4th home run to a left-handed batter. So Daniel's got 1 win. It was out of the bullpen, and still looking for that first win as a starter.
It's amazing that he hasn't had one with all the good starts that he's had.
Yeah. And a bouncer left side, gloved by Munoz. Throw up the line, and the tag by Goldschmidt for the out.
Cardinals defense has been very good since the break too, and here's another example of it. And this is good third base play going to his left. Munoz, the throw up the line a little bit, but Goldie very quickly and smartly coming off the bag to make the tag. There's just a feel for doing what Goldschmidt did there. You can't try to stay on the bag. You have to know when the throw is too errant for you to hang on the bag, get there quickly enough, and make that tag. He just did that very smoothly.
On a hop to second baseman Tommy Edman, 2 away. Cardinals defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tyler O'Neill in left field, Dexter Fowler in center, and Jose Martinez getting a start today in right. Munoz to Young, Edman, Goldschmidt on the infield, Andrew Kisner behind the plate. So Mike Schilt, his bench today, featuring a couple of the regulars. Wieters, Wong, you could maybe mix in even a Harrison Bader as a regular as well. Edmundo Sosa, and here's Marte, who was hit twice in the game last night. One time he wanted to take first base, argued with the umpire, if you want to call it that, but said, no, I wasn't hit. They were ready to give it to him, first base, and he didn't take it. And then was hit on a 1-2 pitch by Carlos Martinez in the 9th inning, and
that was the killer.
That was the killer.
But when he was hit the first time, you and I had never seen a batter actually refuse to go to first base and talk the umpire out of his call.
And Marte lifts a fly ball out to left, and it's gone. Over the wall in left, and it's 1-0. Marte with his 16th home run. Maybe that's why.
Wanted to hit.
Yeah. He's a good player. He's a former All-Star, great speed, good defender. Took over for Andrew McCutchen in center. And plays a lot. Plays almost every day for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I was about to say he's the guy that you got to be careful with in this lineup, especially with Bell out. He's the guy that can do the most damage, and he strikes first here this afternoon.
It's only the 2nd time this year that Josh Bell isn't in their starting lineup. And that's your National League leader in runs batted in, doubles, and extra base hits.
Bell, since the break, has had 1 at-bat with a runner in scoring position. All those RBIs he has, but he just really hasn't had a lot of opportunities either since the break.
Jose Osuna, 339 with 5 home runs, has driven in 13. 2 outs, nobody on. 1-0 already for Pittsburgh. Outfield straight away. 2 balls and 1 strike. This late in the season, and it'll be our first visit to Cincinnati tomorrow. Played them in Mexico, and those were their home games. So here we are. It'll be July 18th tomorrow, and the first time that we'll be in Cincinnati.
Has it been a little difficult for you, Dan, to go all the way to mid-July without any Skyline chili?
It really has, and I know Al misses it. Have to bring him back some, let him heat it up, and he and June can have a delicious meal one night. Skyline chili.
It'd be fine if we just kind of pack it on the plane and bring it back to him.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Daniel has only faced the Pirates 1 time. That was September 12th of 2018. Pirates won that game 4-3. He went 5 innings. And it's a swing and a miss. Daniel Ponce de Leon with his first strikeout. Home run hit by Marte, his 16th. And coming up, the top of the lineup in the bottom of the first, Edman, Martinez, and Goldie. Starling Marte with the solo home run. 1-0 Pittsburgh. At the top of the Cardinal lineup again, Matt Carpenter on the IL, so Tommy Edman, the switch hitter, leads it off. Followed by Martinez and Goldschmidt. Then O'Neill, Fowler, DeYoung, Munoz, Kisner, and Daniel Ponce de Leon. Chris Archer this year 3-6. Start number 17 on the year. Hasn't won, hasn't lost against St. Louis. No record, ERA of 2.20, 3 career starts.
Pitches maybe his best game of the year last time out against the Cubs. Only 1 hit through 6 innings. And the key for him is to stay out of the middle of the plate. He gives up a lot of home runs. He throws a ton of sliders. Top 10 in all of baseball in terms of the percentage of pitches that are thrown as sliders. So he's got a really good one. But he makes mistakes with his fastball in the middle of the plate. And that's where the home runs come.
Pirates, in my mind, they gave up a bundle to get this guy. Meadows, outfielder that debuted and went on a run. And Edman on an 0-2 pitch, a base hit to right. Tyler Glasnow as well. And I would guess from the Pirates' perspective, remember at the time of the deal, they were hot, they were in the hunt. And then you look at Archer and you say, let's get him with Ray Searage and maybe, you know, jumpstart his career to another chapter.
Well, and he's been an all-star. I mean, that's the other thing about him. If you look at the numbers that he's had with Tampa Bay, all-star pitcher, high strikeout total, and a young guy, very athletic. The idea would be this guy could be a top-notch pitcher. Now, he hasn't fully matured into that yet. You see some of the signs of it, but that's the interesting thing about deals that are made in July, and we're going to encounter some in the next couple of weeks where teams are trying to fix whatever holes they have. And how do you do that without giving everything up in return?
Be a situation too where the waiver deals are no longer, so the team that you end August with, that's the team you got.
That's it.
And then eventually baseball will cut down the September rosters too. That's coming as well. So you're going to cut down in September, but yet then you're going to have a situation that Major League Baseball will add a 26th man for a full year. So your cost at September goes down, the full year will go up with an extra man.
And I think that's going to increase the importance, my opinion, about all those rules combined. It's going to increase the importance of utility players. And if you've got a player that can catch, especially as a utility player, play a lot of positions, if something happens and you're stuck and you can't make a deal, you've got somebody that can fill in several different holes. So a guy like Tommy Edman, for example, or even Edmundo Sosa, who has now rejoined this team, he plays multiple infield positions. They're going to be more valuable in my mind.
I think a lot of people look at that extra man as being a third catcher, and I'm not sure that teams go down that road. It's an extra pitcher potentially. Starters aren't going deep into games.
If managers had their way, they'd have 47 pitchers in their bullpen.
Here's a 1-2, and Martinez hits it to the right side. Glove by Newman, and nice play. Gets him spinning to his left.
Well, that was some play by Newman. He had a long way to go to get to that. Talk about defensive range, and Jose Martinez not running well. And he's had all those knee surgeries, and it's too bad. The old Jose Martinez beats this out, but he just can't get there in time.
Let's turn to Ricky Horton's Toyota key to the game.
Well, I'm thinking about situational hitting because I'm still thinking about last night. The Cardinals were not able to do that offensively, and it may have cost them the game. They did not get the run in from third base with less than 2 outs. And so situational at bat. Now there's one. There's Jose Martinez moving a runner from first to second by hitting behind him.
Goldschmidt jammed and popped up on the infield, and the shortstop Jung Ho Gung with the catch. So one pitch and Goldschmidt pops out, and it brings in Tyler O'Neill. Around the Horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Melky Cabrera been around forever in left, Marte in center, Reynolds in right. Along the infield, Moran, Young, Newman, Osuna, and Jacob Stallings behind the plate.
Who's playing second?
Newman. And he just made a nice play on the grounder by Martinez. Clint Hurdle there on a hot day, pacing back and forth in that Pirates dugout. I haven't noticed that he's chomping the gum as much.
No, it seems like he's given that up.
Little known fact, he's in the all-time category of greats of strength of jaw.
And a very good friend of mine had another nice visit with him today.
Into right. Will it sink? It does. Base hit, O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill has had one heck of a homestand. He ties the game up, and it's 1-1. A 2-out base hit to drive in Tommy Edman. Getting his chance, and he's making the most of it.
Well, since the All-Star break, all kinds of production. 8 for 16, 3 home runs. He's driving in runs, the OPS high, and the timing has been outstanding for Tyler O'Neill at the plate, but the timing's been good for the Cardinals because they need somebody to step up and do damage, and he has been part of that wrecking crew.
It's been early in games this homestand for Tyler O'Neill, and handful of times coming through with 2 outs. There's Dexter Fowler, 257 the average. Shift on the right side, and Fowler pops it up. Backing up, Colin Moran. He's got a beat on it and lost it, and O'Neill is at third. O'Neill probably should be at the plate, or was he running hard?
Well, he was thinking about scoring. That ball was up in the air a long time, and it looked like trouble right from the get-go for Moran because he's backpedaling. And we'll take a look at O'Neill. Is he running? He's running fairly hard, and maybe could have been faster. I don't know if he scores or not. Maybe. I mean, it's a possibility. But that ball just looked like a problem right off the bat of Dexter Fowler, the way Moran was reacting to it. And with the shift, with the 3 other infielders on the right side, it was all up to Moran. He had no help.
Ricky, he's got to be in. He's got to score on that. He didn't go off on contact. There's 2 outs, and we mentioned how fast he is. I don't know. Runners at first and third. And Fowler very well could be at second base.
Well, I don't know what they could see on the field, but from my vantage point, I almost said it, Danny, when the ball was up in the air. I said, he's going to drop this. I mean, in my mind, I said that. It just had the look of that, the way he was backpedaling, and the ball was going to be over his head. He did not take the right route to it. And he's made a few errors at third.
O'Neill's sprint speed, we've talked about it, 8th best in the National League. I mean, in my mind, it should be 2-1 with Fowler at second base.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I fully agree with it, but I can't say you're not right.
So that's a 9th error on Colin Moran. Let's see if DeYoung can't make him pay. He's been dropped in this lineup.
Cardinals have been the beneficiary of several errors during this homestand committed by the other team. It was the Diamondbacks first making errors, and it was Dickerson in game 1 of this series making an error and left, and that's how the Cardinals won. They capitalized on that error, and maybe they should have capitalized even more even before this Paul DeYoung at bat.
Well, the ball was popped up, and O'Neill could see too by running to second that maybe the third baseman would have issues with it. Another reason to run harder. That's a miss in my mind, and that can't have that. Winning teams don't have that. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs.
Runners at first and third. And the next two to Young. Fowler running, and it's a strikeout. So the strikeout of DeYoung, the first of the afternoon for Archer, and the Cardinals have tied it up thanks to O'Neill. 2-out RBI single to right. Here's a look at Jed Jerko, still on the IL and trying to come back after surgery. More on that. We check in with Jim.
Yeah, Jed remains on the IL after having wrist surgery, also dealing with a calf issue. But Jed is hoping to make his return sometime in the not too distant future, Dan. Jed told me he hit off the tee for the first time today, about 15 swings. He hopes to be able to go out on a rehab assignment in the next couple of weeks. He told me the calf feels good, the wrist is coming along. The doctors tell me everything is looking like it should. Hopefully we can get back soon, Dan. Jed knows there are still a bunch of hurdles to get past, but he's very optimistic about a return at some point again in the not too distant future.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. 1 ball, 1 strike on Melky Cabrera. Switch hitter, 304 the average, and he's had a terrific season coming off the Pirates bench. You got to wonder if the Pirates feel that they're out of it, and they're going to have to know here in the next couple of weeks what they want to do, obviously. How attractive Melky Cabrera would be to contending teams to come off a bench. Man can flat out hit. As Kisner looks at that go foul behind home plate.
He's always been able to hit. And to have an extra bat off your bench, especially a switch hitter that could give you a professional at bat. Yeah, a guy that's going to put the ball in play and not strike out. I think there'd be some value for the right team, the right place. And, you know, Pittsburgh's going to have to figure out, are they in that boat of selling or not? They're only 5.5 games out of first place, for goodness sakes.
Trade deadline, the final day, 2 weeks from today. 2-2 the count.
And I appreciated Jim's report on Jed Jerko. I had a chance to visit with him today as well, and it just talking through all the rehab that he's doing, and just thankful to be swinging again, and way ahead of what they thought he would be doing. And I think maybe even he thought he would be able to do. And he talked about the fact that for 2 years he's been swinging with some pain. 2 years.
Interesting.
And, you know, I know people would say, well, just get it fixed. Well, getting it fixed means missing time, and time is money in this game, and it's just hard. Maybe you think about doing it in an off season, but, you know, he's felt like maybe the best course was to just play through it. And it wasn't, I wouldn't call it pain where he couldn't swing the bat at all, but he would feel it. So the fact that he's been able to get that taken care of, we'll just see if that gets him back to the power stroke that he first had when he came to the Cardinals.
30 home run year.
30 home runs, yeah, that's a big deal.
3-2 pitch and a ground ball.
Edman, 1 away. Cardinals baseball, always live with MLB at bat. Follow the action, game tracking, video highlights, along with up to the moment stats and standings, all at MLB at bat. By the way, you know, you look at some of the guys trying to come back for the Cardinals, and here's Colin Moran, whether it be Yadier Molina, Marcell Ozuna, timetable still unsure about those two. You just mentioned Jed Jerko. I'm thinking about as well Alex Reyes being a call up at some point to add. Maybe Austin Gomber. The problem with all that is that you're running out of time in the minor leagues. Minor league season is going to end in about 6 weeks.
That's right.
So in particular with pitchers trying to build their arm strength up and get depth, you know, you're looking at those guys probably being, you know, pieces that maybe you're out of the bullpen. We'll see. But the minor league season ends so early, and you have your September call up, so it ends in August essentially.
And not every one of those Cardinal minor league teams will be in the playoffs. Sometimes the playoffs complicates it because you'd rather have them have the experience of playing there for that extra 8 to 10 games. Now you're a third of the way into September, and so you only have them for a couple of weeks as a September call up. Mike Schilt talking about Alex Reyes today, saying there's really no timetable for him yet. I mean, they're trying. to get it going, and they're trying to help him the best they can, and they're still hopeful, but still no timetable. He's currently in Jupiter.
Dealing with that pectoral issue that he's had. Gomber's had a shoulder issue. Lost season for him. 3-1 pitch. Into center. Fowler will not get there. It drops in for a base hit. So Moran is aboard with 1 out. Jung Ho Kang, the batter, hitting below 200, but as we saw early when he came over in first year in the United States, this guy has got power. He did a lot of damage against the Cardinals. He had an unbelievable spring training. He couldn't get a base hit in terms of a single, double, or triple, but man, when he connected, he got a lot of home runs, and in limited time he's got 9 this year. Really good power. And the first pitch is strike.
You know, with all the technology in baseball, I'm thinking back to our discussion in the first inning about whether Tyler O'Neill should have scored or not, and kind of unsure and maybe having differences of opinions about it. I would think with technology we could find out a better answer to that. How many seconds is the ball in the air?
Goldschmidt doing circles in foul territory and makes the catch.
He got there.
Yeah.
And we may not want to go over the actual defensive route taken there on Paul Goldschmidt, but he ends up finding the baseball. That's the key in making the play. But back to the O'Neill play. How much distance did he have to cover to go from first and third on an infield pop-up, and how many seconds was it in the air, and how reasonable is it to think that he could get home from there? I think that could be computed by somebody smarter than you and me.
What about the eye test?
Well, there's always the eye test. I'm trying to make it a little. Hey, I'm trying to get on board with analytics here, Danny.
I'm okay with that too.
But it also you could get the answer should Fowler have been on second.
Yep. This is Jacob Stallings, his dad, longtime college basketball coach, Illinois State of the Missouri Valley Conference. Pitt, he was there briefly. Had a great run at Vanderbilt. Kevin Stallings, and this is his son, Jacob. And Kevin, a big Cardinals fan. And which side are you on? Are you Illinois State or are you Bradley? Pretty good rivalry. Two schools not far from each other. Bloomington and Peoria. Here's the 0-2 pitch by Daniel Ponce de Leon, and strikeout number 2. Got Ozuna to end the first, and Stallings here to end the second.
Kia Give It Everything this afternoon is a look at counts and just how batters in all of baseball fare when they're ahead in the count, even in the count, or behind in the count. A .355 average when ahead, .296 when even, and .194 behind. And we're going to be following that throughout our game here this afternoon between the Pirates and the Cardinals.
I like that. The importance of pitching ahead in baseball.
The swing pitches. The 1-1 pitch, the 0-0 pitch, they make such a difference because of the numbers that you just saw. And we're going to follow them throughout this game just to see where a hitter might be on a given count, Danny. And we'll start with the 0-0 count. The major league average on the first pitch is .352. That's extraordinary to me. And that's players jumping on that first pitch. Now, that's not Munoz's average. That's the overall league average. And we'll see if he offers that first delivery.
I think that when you look at that first pitch in the 9th inning of a game and you're down by a run, okay, and let's go into this one now, 0-1.
On 0-1, the league average .326. I think that's still pretty high.
I think it's really high. But my point is, you have a closer coming in, a specialist, and then you're aggressive early in the count even though you trail. Now it's 0-2, and we'll see how this unfolds. Ouch.
152. .152. You see the difference. You see why pitchers want to get ahead.
He puts it in play, slowly hit towards short, and Munoz beats it out. Infield hit.
And the average just went up.
Yep. Munoz has really made a living here this year by putting the ball in play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so he's got that low potential average. He gets a slider from Archer, but he hustles out of the box and gets his base hit by about a half a step. But that's the kind of swing, though, you're going to get 0-2, a defensive swing. And again, Munoz gets the base hit. Maybe the only way he can at that point is by making contact.
Here's Andrew Knizner still looking for that elusive first major league hit. Knizner saying the other day, I probably should just try to poke it through the right side.
Oh, he's a hitter. There's no question. And what kind of hitter is he with a 1-0 count? 354. Not just him, all of baseball. So he's in the driver's seat right now. That's a very good batting average expectancy for a big league hitter. So expect him to swing here.
He does. Line into left center for his first major league hit.
Knizner digging for second. Congratulations, Andrew Knizner, first major league hit. Many more to come. There's the keepsake for Knizner. Always great to get that first big league hit, and again the goosebumps on my arms. It always happens thinking about his parents and his coaches at NC State. Loving this moment. Andrew Knizner
driving it over the shortstop's head, and we know this guy can hit. He's been a hitter throughout his minor league career, and he's going to hit in the big league.
His minor league average career 304, 370, the on base, 452 slugging. Was in 295 minor league games, drafted in 2016. Here's Daniel Ponce de Leon. Corners are in. And that pitch taken for a ball inside. Cardinals with 4 hits, back-to-back hits to start here, the home half of the second inning.
Situational hitting opportunity. Our key to the game now, it is with the pitcher. But you've got a runner at third base and second base with nobody out. And what's the idea here? It's not a bunting situation. Now, if Knizner was on first, he'd be bunting him to second. But he's just going to try to drive the ball into the outfield somehow. Or even hitting a ground ball to short would work.
Or second.
Second would work.
And the 1-1. Daniel does have 1 major league hit. Triple off of Jamison Tyone. Faced Pittsburgh last September.
A hitter in a situational moment, and as Mike Schultz says, every at-bat's really situational, should come to the plate and survey the field, understand the score, understand the pitcher, time of game, etc. And that defines what you do in that situation. There's a thought process that's not about where your hands are on the bat and how close you are to the plate and how open you are, but it's what do we need? And I'm sure Ponce knows what we need right now is a ground ball to the middle infielder. Get it past Archer.
One ball and 2 strikes. Runners at second and third. The next 2, Ponce de Leon taken high.
The best situational thing would be what you said. A ground ball to second, because that would advance Knizner to third and score the run.
I'm always thinking, Ricky, that's, you know, it's my manager's mind.
I could see the smoke coming out of your ears, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Thought maybe there was a problem with your headset.
Been asked by a lot of major league teams to go out of the booth, but to have the chance to work with you and all the other guys, couldn't pass this up. There's a strikeout of Ponce de Leon. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. Strikeout number 2 for Archer. Second and third. 1 out. Tommy Edman singled to right on an 0-2 pitch and has scored the only run for St. Louis today. So to the point I was trying to make earlier, and we're going through the counts, I'll hear from fans all the time saying, well, that's bad baseball. You're down by a run, you don't take a strike.
Well, that is when you're 12.
And at 12, guys aren't throwing 98 with a splitter.
And they're not throwing very many strikes.
Right. It's a big legs.
I almost said that.
Tim knows.
It's rubbing off.
You got it. Well, the last Cardinals catcher with a double for his first hit in the big leagues, Carson Kelly. It was at Pittsburgh in 2016. Antonio Bastardo was the pitcher that day. And the 2-0 to Tommy Edman. How about 3-0?
So 3-0. What is the aggregate average in all of baseball? 382. So you say, well, you should take a pitch. Well, if you're going to hit 382, maybe there's a chance to drive in a couple of runs and do some damage. And that's why many players are given the green light. Now, some guys don't like to hit 3-0, but 382 would be pretty enticing, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. A 3-0 and a walk. Bases loaded. First walk by Archer, and they're all loaded up for Jose Martinez. Jose had a slow roller to the right side that Kevin Newman, the second baseman, ranged to his left and then was able to get Martinez.
Chris Archer has not had a start this year where he hasn't walked at least 2 batters.
He has control issues. And we mentioned our key to the game is situational hitting. How about this one? 1-1 early, a chance to do damage with Martinez at the plate. 1 out. Runner at third base. The situation here is to drive the ball into the outfield. What you want to avoid is the double play. Everybody back hoping for that on the infield.
And strike 1. Munoz, the infield hit. Kisner, first major league hit. Double to left center. Strikeout of Ponce de Leon. The walk to Edman. 1 out. Runners all aboard. One ball and 1 strike. Munoz was racing down that third base line. From the pitcher's perspective, does it really make that much of a difference? Does it really get in his head?
It bothers you, and when you see it, it's worse because you might flinch. Right-handed pitcher, meaning, could see it better than a left-handed pitcher can, but it also might bother the hitter too. That's the other side of it. The hitter sees action out of the corner of his eye.
Martinez with a fly ball out to right. Reynolds with the catch. 2 runners will tag up. 1 will score, and the Cardinals have their first lead.
Martinez now 2 for 2 in situational hitting. Hit a ground ball to the right side to advance a runner. Hit a fly ball to the outfield to drive 1 in. And I'm glad we're talking about it. That's what the Cardinals need to do. A pitch middle at 96, and he just needed to elevate it, and he did.
Now, how about a 2-out hit? Cardinals got that in the first inning thanks to Tyler O'Neill. 2-out base hit to right that brought in Edman to tie the game up at 1-1. First pitch to Goldschmidt. Did not go as they appealed down to first.
Glad they didn't ask me.
I'm with you. I thought that was strike one. So if I was managing, I'd have been ejected by now.
No, you would say something calm and cool.
No, I wouldn't.
Collected.
No. Might not be a bad day to get ejected. Go in the clubhouse, sit back, watch the game on TV. The air conditioning. The 1-0. Missed in 2-0.
I don't remember if that was Whitey or I don't remember who the story is about, but some big league manager, that was actually a confrontation with an umpire. He was doing everything he could do to get thrown out on a hot day, and the umpire said, "I'm out here for 9 and so are you."
I like that.
I know what you're doing.
Two and one. So runners at the corners. Goldschmidt popped out to short. His first time up. Shift on the left side of the infield. And the 2-1.
He's thrown a lot of spinning sliders, and I've seen his slider much better than that. 3-1 count, league average 365, and I think you're getting the point here. If you're ahead in the count, you're in the driver's seat at the plate, and the pitcher is defenseless.
Goldschmidt sitting on 17 home runs, and he'll take the walk. Stayed away from the slider, and again Archer with 2 walks in a game, and both come in this inning. Tyler O'Neill with 2 outs and a base hit to right back in the first to bring in Edman.
That was actually a pretty good slider by Archer down and away, and it's good to see Tyler O'Neill going the other way with a breaking ball. Turn on the fastball, go the other way with a breaking pitch that's down and away. And Archer is on the ropes here. And maybe O'Neill the right guy at the plate.
Take us with you wherever you may be this summer. Fox Sports Go. Just download the app for your favorite device, and that is Fox Sports Go. The fingerprints, George Kissel all over Major League Baseball, and that includes one Ray Searage. George was the one that told him you need to get in coaching.
Yeah, he had him as a minor league player, and then he went to several teams, went to the Mets, and then I played with him with the White Sox and the Dodgers both. Then he came to start coaching with the Cardinals in the minor league. So Ray got him, and he lived in St. Petersburg, and think about the Cardinals tie to St. Petersburg before moving to Jupiter, and Ray still lives there, he told me. Today I had a nice visit with him, and I'd have great respect for him, but he was a Cardinal coach at one time.
Here's Tyler O'Neill. They're loaded up. First pitch hit out of play. Well, he's done a great job, Searage has, in the quote-unquote reclamation projects. I mean, you think about what he did with Liriano, turned his career around and became one of the dominant lefties while with the Pirates in their run of getting to postseason play, and some others too, but that one really sticks out.
Ray is very likable and soft-spoken, but he's a really good baseball man.
Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Some other Cardinal connection on their coaching staff. We saw David Eckstein here at the ballpark yesterday. Rick Eckstein was a coach here, his brother, along with Clint Hurdle, who played in 1986 with the Cardinals.
Pitch number 26 of the inning. 1-2 on Tyler O'Neill.
That was the swing pitch, the 1-1 pitch. Now he's behind in the count. Archer can try to get him to chase a breaking pitch down and away, perhaps. League average on 1 and 2 counts, just 159. And why is that? The pitcher can call the shots. He can try to throw a pitch that looks like a strike. You have to protect with 2 strikes, and then it's going to be off the plate, and you might not be able to square it up.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to O'Neill. Backs up, but high. 2-2.
So he lost some advantage there. It's up a little bit, 182 on a 2-2 count.
Full count.
And the only count that's above 200 from a batter's point of view is 3-2. So it's gone from 160 or 150 to 180 to 205. But Archer certainly needs to throw a strike here. And he may groove one. He has a tendency
to throw it in the heart of the plate.
You want damage? Let's see some here. The 3-2 pitch, bases loaded. And he struck him out. What with the slider on 3-2. No argument from Tyler O'Neill. Cardinals strand the bases loaded. And St. Louis on top. Hey, we have Christmas in July coming up. Always a fun day and night here at the ballpark, presented by Holiday World and Splashin' Safari. Purchase a special theme ticket, receive an exclusive Fred on a sled. Tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
A warm, toasty day at the ballpark, and we've got another roll call for you here this afternoon. For those who may have missed it, a couple of nights ago we did an alumni roll call and had several former Cardinals that texted us and responded on Twitter to let us know they were watching Cardinals baseball.
Unbelievable.
And it was so wonderful to connect everybody in the response. So we've got another one today, and this one's on Twitter. So if you are watching today's game because it's a day game and you're in a foreign country somewhere abroad and you follow Cardinal baseball, no matter where that might be, we want to know what country you're watching from. And the way to let us know is via Twitter.
There's a base hit for Archer into right as Martinez tried to get him, but no chance. And a base hit to start the third.
My Twitter handle, RickyH49. RickyH49. Or you can let Danny know at DannyMacTV. So RickyH49 or DannyMacTV. Let us know where you are watching Cardinals baseball today, and we'll clue everybody else in later in the telecast.
We're going to get them from all over the place. I guarantee it.
I know we will.
Here's Newman and the top of the lineup for the Pirates. Mentioned that we heard from Ed Mickelson. You got a phone call from him, and so many of the, and he's 93 and doesn't miss a game, and so many of the players here.
Charlie James played with Stan Musial, and he texted us during the game. And of course, got the Hall of Fame calls too. Bruce Sutter, Ozzie Smith was actually here at the ballpark, but you heard from Larry Walker, who will be hopefully in the Hall of Fame. It was fun.
Cardinal fans everywhere. 2-0 pitch, hit out of play, including Noah Wagner from Billings, Montana. There you go. Here we go. Amsterdam. The 2-1 pitch to Kevin Newman. Newman, first time up, grounded out to third to start the afternoon.
Ponce has got to make that run stand up. That extra run his team just got him could have been more. But so important, and we've talked about this, and Dan, this has been talked about since baseball began. There's something about the psyche of a game that when you score and then you hold the other team down, and you can call it momentum, you can call it whatever you want to call it, pressure that all of a sudden starts to mount on the other team because they're behind. I think it's really that. I don't know if it's momentum. I think it's pressure.
Chopped up the third base line, and do or die there for Munoz. Couldn't come up with it. Infield hit. Back-to-back hits now for the Pirates to start the third. And the batter will be the switch hitter, Brian Reynolds.
Just couldn't quite come up with a do or die play. And I'm not going to go through the details every second on what we get, but I will tell you that I just got
56 tweets from 56 people watching abroad. So it's going to take me a while to figure it out, Danny. I'll get back to you around the 7th inning.
I got you.
I have a feeling it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Here's Reynolds, a switch hitter, grounded out to second base, first time up. On their bench, Dickerson, Frazier, Bell, Diaz, so some big bats. Everyday players on the bench for Clint Ertl. And a strike.
been very tough on lefties. Again, likes to pitch up. Normally not double play inducing.
The 0-1 pitch by Daniel Ponce de Leon, hit out of play. Got a unique tweet here from Keith O'Brien, who says, guys, I'm in the TV truck. Keith O'Brien is with us every day.
Well, that is another country, technically.
Different world with those guys.
Different planet, for sure.
And the 0-2 pitch with 2 runners on, nobody out. Curveball, and he struck him out. Third strikeout for Daniel. That breaking pitch, Ricky, really has been hit or miss, and more times miss for Daniel Ponce de Leon, but that's a beauty there.
Yeah, it hits the top of the zone, maybe a bit high, but exactly the location of Tyler O'Neill's called strike 3 with the bases loaded last inning. So batters beware. The upper part of the zone is open for business.
Here's Starling Marte, homered his first plate appearance, his 16th of the year. And that's strike 1. Cardinals starters have been so good going back to the Flaherty start in San Francisco in the final game as Marte hits the deck. But the final game of that first half, and during this homestand, they have given the Cardinals a chance to win every single game. Fewest home runs allowed since the break. Kubota Power Stats, and the Cardinals have allowed just 5. Nothing in 2 the count with 1 out. Runners at first and second. And it's hit the other way. Martinez. He'll make the catch. Throwing to second base. Advancing Archer from second to third, and there's 2 away. Jose Osuna, cleanup hitter today. Struck out, first strikeout for Daniel, and that ended the first inning. Daniel Ponce de Leon has struck out 3. He's allowed 4 base hits. The 1 home run, has not walked a man here today. And now Osuna. Tomorrow night in Cincinnati, the first of 4 against the upstart Reds. The Great American Ballpark, Dakota Hudson and Tanner Roark tomorrow. 2 outs, 2 on in a 2-1 game. Strike 1. When did you start to know or really gain your attention the amount of swings and misses that we see in baseball? Was it within the last year, 2 years?
I would say 3 or 4. It started to elevate, and you just weren't sure whether it was the increased velocity that I think was starting to come out of everybody's bullpen. I think I really noticed it with the Dodgers bullpen, especially the pitching up.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, a lot of base hit to Archer to right. Then the infield hit by Newman. Strikeout of Reynolds. Marte the flyout. Ozuna the ground out. To the game. Bryce Harping, Philly beat LA 9-8. Bench is cleared. Jake Marisnick was hit by a pitch. Remember, he had the collision. Jonathan Lucroy. And the Cubs 4-1 in the second half. And that's kind of the question we've been throwing out there since first game back. What team in the Central will get hot? And the Cubs,
and someone will,
have been hot the last 3 years in the second half.
Well, someone will. It's inevitable. It's not going to be a 500 team to win the division. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you better be one of the teams that does it. And Dan, I'll just give you an early report. 24 countries we've heard from on our Twitter handles that are.
Say that again. How many?
24 countries, not counting the United States of America, are tuned in, and we'll give you a final tally later. But if, again, you're watching abroad and enjoying Cardinals baseball on a day game here in St. Louis, a warm day, rubber game of this series, if you're watching us, let us know. Ricky H49 on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle, Ricky H49, or Danny Mac TV. And we're glad you're following us.
Absolutely. Appreciate the follow and your connection to Cardinals baseball. Everybody always says, too, when I hear the games, have a chance to watch the game, feel like I'm back home, and that's what baseball does.
It's a little bit humbling to realize that at this moment, this is a world game here. I'm not saying the whole world's watching it, but somebody across the globe is tuned in to Cardinal baseball and caring about the outcome today. We're glad you're with us. Glad you're watching.
Technology today, Fox Sports Go app, MLB.tv. A lot of folks doing it while they're supposed to be at work.
And Dan will thank you in your native language somewhere between now and the end of the game.
You want to say that part again, too? I struggle enough
Tell you
with
what,
English.
I'll take Mexico and Colombia. I can do that. You got some of the rest.
1-1 the count here on Dexter Fowler. It was the drop by Moran. Led to a run. Potentially for St. Louis, but they could not cash in. Had a runner at first, Tyler O'Neill. And a high pop-up with this shift. And Moran, the third baseman, did not make the catch. O'Neill didn't score. And that came with 2 outs, and then DeYoung struck out. The favorite tweet I've gotten from people before when we've done this is that I'm a Cardinals fan in Cubs country, so I feel like I'm in a foreign country anyway. That's a Cardinal fan for you.
I've seen that. You bet.
3-1 the count here on Dexter Fowler. Fly ball into right. Racing in to make the catch on the run, Reynolds. Quick word from Great Southern Bank.
This is my favorite part. Oh, really? Because I moved some money. Great Southern app.
Also want to say hello to all the men and women, armed forces they're watching, including some that are stationed in Africa that we've gotten.
And several tweets from London where folks are looking forward to the Cardinals and the Cubs playing in 2020.
There's Paul DeYoung, who struck out swinging back in the first inning. A 2-1 ball game. And 0-1 pitch here. Hit out of play by DeYoung. 0-2. Again, we thank the men and women of our military, and some served our country many years ago and wear that hat proudly. World War II, the Korean War, and then Vietnam there on the left.
Thank you.
Strikeout of DeYoung. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Number 4 for Archer.
Mike Schilt was talking about Paul DeYoung before the game, and he said that they continue to take him through a battery of tests to make sure he's not fatigued. He's just had issues with his timing. He's not swinging the bat as he was early in the season. Of course, he's an all-star, but they say he's passing all of those tests with flying colors. So, and they have very detailed strength tests, etc., sleep, all that, and they just do not believe he's fatigued at all. So he's young, he's not fatigued, he's not showing any of those signs. He's just not swinging the bat very well. And that's why they dropped him in the order.
Hit down the right field line out of play. I always try to bring up history during our telecast. So important never to forget the past, good or bad, what you can learn. And I think our young fans would be absolutely amazed of the amount of time baseball players missed serving in the military. Years, not days. Not an off season, years. And think about trying to come back then from whatever they dealt with, saw, had to be a part of, and then reintroduced to society is one thing, but then trying to catch up with a fastball is another. Taking a year or two off. Ted Williams, one of the great examples of that. Bob Feller, who is considered at his time the hardest thrower in the game and a Hall of Famer, he missed 3 years. Stan the Man was stationed and away for a brief time. I saw one of the greatest pieces of memorabilia from Stan. Army and Navy would play each other, and his jersey was never washed. And it still had the dirt on it a couple of years ago. It really did. It was in plastic.
That's some valuable dirt.
Oh, man. On the 0-2 pitch, a fly ball out to center field, and Starling Marte the catch.
Might be better than the moon rock.
It's incredible, isn't it? Apollo. Two-one our score. Let's check in with Jim.
Dan, the Cardinal rotation has been dominant since the All-Star break. It was all started by Daniel Ponce de Leon, who was a late replacement for Adam Wainwright on Friday. Mike Schilt said of Ponce, he's been great with everything we ask. Spot start, late notice, bullpen, doesn't bother him. Schilt says the key for Ponce, as Ricky pointed out earlier, it's very simple, throwing strikes. Schilt said Ponce has been around the plate more, not falling behind early in counts. His stuff is terrific. He's just letting it work for him. And by the way, guys, I'm in section 348. I'm not going to tweet at you, but I'd like my Twitter handle out there anyway, the Cat on Fox.
Oh, so he used that as a total shameless plug.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
We didn't do that. I mean, we just said go to.
No, of course not.
No. What I'm saying is I'm going to tweet, but I will be tweeting from my account on Twitter.
Right.
And what's your handle again?
The Cat on Fox.
Okay, thank you.
At Danny Mac TV, and you can just hit that follow. It's really easy to do. Download it on the app when you get the Fox Sports app. Here's Melky Cabrera, grounded to second on a 3-2 pitch back in the second inning. And he lines that for a single into center field.
As you said earlier, and I agreed, man can hit.
Yes, he can.
Pitch location, middle in, 94. May have wanted that up a little bit more.
You know who we do not talk about in Cardinal history nearly enough, in my opinion, for whatever reason? Bill White.
Yeah.
And Bill White was a fabulous player and a long, distinguished career in the major leagues. As that gets to the backstop and also broadcast booth, and then became the National League president. But it was in this date, 14 hits, 18 at bats, which tied a major league record set by Ty Cobb for a doubleheader and then the following game. But we were just talking about military service, and that's another one that missed an entire year. Bill White, 1957, missed an entire year because of military service. He was acquired by the Cardinals, trade from San Francisco, and 8-time All-Star, won 7 Gold Gloves, terrific first baseman, and was so big for the Cardinals on those key winning teams. Bill White. But we just don't talk about him enough.
National League president, broadcaster. You mentioned all of his accomplishments even post-career, but an outstanding hitter.
And the 1-1 pitch. Fouled back, and it's 1-2.
So we talk about situational hitting from a positive point of view, what the Cardinals want to do. Well, when you're on the defensive side, you try to avoid the Pirates being successful in a situational hitting opportunity. Moran's job right now is to hit the ball to the right side, where, by the way, the Cardinals are loaded up because he's a lefty. But if he pulls a ground ball to the right side, he gets Cabrera to third, he does his job.
And that's taken high. Our friend Jay Delsing watching the baseball game today, and his father, a major leaguer who missed 2 years because of service in World War II. And Jay went the path of golf and one of the great golfers ever to come out of St. Louis.
Good man.
Debatable.
I'm talking about his dad. His dad, Jim, wonderful man. Spent a lot of time with him. Of course, he's the one that pinch ran for Eddie Goodell in that famous game.
Yep. Eddie Goodell, now commonly referred to as Little People. Bill Veeck, the Browns had him, and the jersey number that he wore was that of the Bat Boys that had to be altered. That Bat Boy, Bill DeWitt Jr. Incredible.
Interesting. Bill DeWitt Jr., the owner of the Cardinals, was a bat boy. Mike Schilt, the manager of the Cardinals, started as a bat boy. He did it for 7 years in Charlotte, North Carolina, before getting a chance to play and then play a little in college and sign out as a coach and then a scout and minor league manager, and here he is.
Running camps for kids and was a teacher, and at one point the manager of your St. Louis Cardinals was teaching and coaching baseball, and he was teaching kids with special needs. And the 3-2 pitch now to Colin Moran. And those people that teach in those classrooms are saints. I mean, it's a tough job. That's putting it mildly. And those wonderful children. Innocent, sweet, loving, the best. 3-2 the count here on Moran. And again we'll have a 3-2 pitch.
Ponce trying to crowd him in, trying to jam him to get a pop-up. That's really what he's thinking, to avoid the situational ground ball to the right side. And Moran was good enough to spoil those last 2 pretty good pitches in on his hands.
9th pitch coming. This at bat with Moran, who singled to center. First time up. Hits a fly ball down the left field line. That is slicing foul and out of play.
You know, Danny, you and I talking before the game about how important this game may be, and you know, it's game 94 of 162, and there's 68 games left. And you can say, well, why is this game important? But you know, last night's loss was tough, I think, because the Cardinals had an opportunity, and they had won 3 straight, so that's the good news. And they're playing very well, pitching extraordinarily well, especially their starters after the break. But you want to keep the positives going, and a win today would help.
And that just missed. 10 pitch at bat results in a walk, and boy, that looked to be a pretty good pitch. And Mike Maddox on a hot day is maybe just going to give Ponce a little breather here and maybe cool him off from being upset he didn't get that strike call.
Well, Ponce is very emotional on the mound. There's no question about that. And there's the claw grip from Mike Maddox. He does it with all of his pitchers, puts the right hand on their shoulder, and they call it like a claw because he's not just resting it there. He's grabbing you. He's trying to give you his relaxed, positive energy and make sure that you know that you are not alone. The pat on the back, the simple words, the teammates around. Now you're on your own. Go get them.
Jung Ho Kang, 0 for 1. He's at shortstop today. Runners at first and second. Ponce thinking double play. Strike one. And the 0-1. Kang popped out to Goldschmidt. Foul territory his first time up. And the 1-1 pitch to the Pirates shortstop with 2 runners on. Ground ball up the middle, gloved by DeYoung. The turn by Edman. He got the ground ball in double play. DeYoung, Edman to Goldschmidt.
I would call that a kind of a difficult double play to turn because DeYoung has to go a long way to get it. It's hit hard, and then you've got to have the flip backwards, so the turn has to be made very quickly by Edman, who's not really looking at first base, so easy to throw away. He's got to turn around, pick up Goldschmidt, and fire a strike. That was well done.
Intentional walk to Jacob Stallings, and that'll bring in Chris Archer, who singled to right first time up. 2 walks in the inning, this one intentional. Chris Archer came into play batting .040. He's a very good athlete that was cut from his 7th grade baseball team and then attended every home game to identify the skills that he needed to have to be better. Didn't give up. And here he is in the big leagues. And he singles to right. They intentionally pass Stallings, and Archer the base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Boy, this is not a bad pitch. It's down and away, and he just takes it the other way. He didn't look like an .040 hitter. Certainly not today. Boy, I didn't see that coming.
Runners at first and second. Kevin Newman up for the 3rd time. He's grounded at third, has an infield hit, and he singles to left. Here's O'Neill. They'll hold up the runner at third base.
I think wisely so. Stallings not a good runner, and O'Neill has shown he can throw. He charged that ball hard, and now Ponce is on the ropes. Thought the double play might really just get him out of this inning and kind of keep him on track, but the intentional walk and then back-to-back base hits. Now he's got to contend with Brian Reynolds, who may be their best hitter right now. And again, we're talking about a guy that was not even, he was a non-roster invitee, just a guy in spring training, but he's more than that.
A switch hitter, all loaded up with 2 outs. And that pitch catches the inside corner. Well, this half he's had to work. 21 pitches. Already 71 in the game. Due up second for the Cardinals, Daniel Ponce de Leon in the home half of the 4th, and the 0-1 pitch taken high. Well, the Cardinals, I'm sure, seeing the same thing that you are on a hot day. It's been a struggle here for Daniel, and because of that, Dominic Leone starts to throw in the pen. Here's a 1-1. Fowler late break, and it drops. Didn't read it off the bat. And with that, the Pirates go back on top. I had noticed right before the pitch he was playing shallow too, and he got a late break on this, and with that single, Pittsburgh has regained the lead.
Slightly off to the end of the bat, he just didn't true it, and then there's that one step back, and that's all the difference.
So Stallings scoring, Archer scoring, 4-2 Pittsburgh.
I think this is going to be it for Ponce. Mike Schilt took off the glasses. That's the sure sign that he's headed to the mound. And here he comes.
So he'll go to the bullpen with runners at first and second. And Daniel was 1 out away from getting out of it, and the pitcher up. And the Archer base hit looms large in this inning. This copyrighted test presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, that's it for Daniel Ponce de Leon. So Dominic Leone into the ballgame with 2 outs and 2 on, and the Cardinals trailing 4-2.
Clear example of a game getting away from a starting pitcher. Dominic Leone has been much better of late. Had a terrible stretch early in the season, got sent back to AAA, also kind of worked his way back up here and figured some things out. He's really best when his cutter's sharp, and it wasn't, and he had 2 big blow-up games where he was last man standing, and it's just, I'm sorry, you got to finish the inning somehow, some way, and the ERA really beyond repair after those 2 games. Gave up 2 seasons worth of runs, frankly, for a reliever.
Well, Marte trying to get time. It was not granted, and the pitch looked to be a strike, and I'm not sure if it.
They called it a ball, though.
Yeah, he did. He did call it a ball. That looked to be a pretty good pitch. And the 1-0 to Marte. Ground ball sharply to Munoz. He'll step on the bag. So inning is done. The top half here of the 4th. And the Cardinals have Kisner, Leone, Edman coming up. Coming up, featuring Jason Mott, who recorded the final out of the 2011 World Series. He'll do a little Q&A. Take home that bobblehead, cardinals.com/budbash. He's now working for Memphis State in their program. Here's Andrew Kisner. Kisner picked up his first ever major league hit back in the 2nd.
There's a big memory, and that was a no doubter. That was a bullet, and he can say it's a bullet. He'll tell his grandkids, I hit it hard. I smoked it in the center field.
And he did.
Well, that's what everybody always says, and sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not.
That's right. Here's the 0-1. And your hit off of Nolan Ryan for your first major league hit was?
Smoked up the middle. It's on 18 hops. I saw a gentleman at the YMCA working out. He had a Nolan Ryan jersey on. This was yesterday. And I thought about walking up to him and saying, you know, I got my first big league hit. I didn't do it.
Should have said, you know, great jersey, great pitcher, Hall of Fame. He's on my list.
He's in my book.
Yeah, he's on my list. I got him. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I decided against it.
1-2 the count here on Kisner. Chasen Shreve is throwing in the Cardinals pen. That would be for Leon.
With Edmundo Sosa on the on-deck circle. And a chance for his first big league hit in the same game with Kisner.
That's taken high. Well, neither starter has been working fairly quickly or efficient.
You know,
it's been a grind.
You know, you'd have to say if you're the Cardinals down 2 runs in the 4th inning, you know, game's not over, obviously. But I think you've got a pitcher that's gettable. It's a phrase you would use in the dugout. He's gettable.
Into right. Reynolds near the line with the catch. Edmundo Sosa back in the big leagues when Carpenter went on the injured list after the foul ball the other night. So, as Ricky mentioned, trying to pick up his first ever big league knock.
Had a nice chat with him before the game in Spanglish. Yeah, I asked him if he spoke English very well, and he said not really. And I said, well, I don't speak Spanish very well either, so here we go.
And what did you learn in that conversation?
No idea. And no idea if he learned anything. Actually, what I did learn is he prefers shortstop over the other infield positions, but he's played all over the place. No outfield like Edman has, but second, short, third, and very proficient fielder.
Really good. Quick hands.
And like our starter for the Pirates yesterday from Panama.
And the 0-1 fouled back. Sosa did draw a walk and score a run in his major league debut. That was against San Francisco last September the 23rd. Shreve throwing in the pen. Only a 4-man bench and having to use a pinch hitter here. And a strikeout of Sosa. 5 today for Chris Archer.
Feels to me that there should be more damage done against Archer with the base runners the Cardinals have had. And of course, there's the 5 left on base in the first 2 innings. It probably makes me feel that way. It was a long first couple of innings for him, but he survived it. Now he's getting better, retiring the last 6 batters.
At one point, the Cubs could have had Chris Archer. Here's Tommy Edman. Initially drafted by the Indians out of high school, 5th round pick in 06, traded to Cleveland to the Cubs. Mark DeRosa involved in that trade, traded by Chicago to the Rays. Matt Garza in that deal, and then the Rays traded him here to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Glasnow and Austin Meadows. Mentioned he's a good athlete. He was a quarterback on the football team in high school, very good one. And he played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. And he said he did that because he grew up loving watching Derek Jeter play. And Jeter had represented and played for Team USA and some stops along the way with the Yankees. And he said he dreamed of doing that himself, so that's why he competed in the World Baseball Classic.
Had a chance to meet him when he was a rookie. George Hendrick introduced me to him. And as friendly and likable and energetic. I mean, he was just Mr. Personality. And in the midst of our conversation, he said, what can you tell me about this old man here? Referring to George. He said, I want to know what he was like as a teammate and as a player.
Silent George.
Silent George. And so we talked about that a bit. And George gave him one of those, yeah, I'm still trying to work on this young man. And they had an interesting little mutual respect going on. Of course, George's a hitting coach, not a pitching coach, but really saw a future in Archer.
And Silent George
is not silent.
Was not too silent.
Not at all. He's the pot stirrer of all pot stirrers.
Resume and a profile of Archer in the All-Star game a couple of times. A strikeout guy too.
Yeah.
He's got 5 today to go along with a couple of walks. And Edman hits it out to right, and going back to make the catch, Brian Reynolds. So he has settled in. That's 7 in a row. Blue Fuse and our this date in Cardinals history. Find out more at fuse.com. And the Hall of Famer, this date, 1974. Look who's behind the plate.
I think I've seen him before. And how about a high fastball, too? We think high fastballs are things of the present only. I think Mr. Gibson wasn't afraid to throw that high, hard one.
Number 3,000, and he would add 117 more to finish his career with 3,117 strikeouts in that Hall of Fame remarkable career. Bob Gibson. Bob, if you're watching, we're thinking about you.
You bet we are.
Osuna, Cabrera, Moran, Chasen, Shreve, the lefty in. Part of the Luke Voigt deal last year, along with Gallegos.
And what we learned about Shreve is last year is that he's really not necessarily a lefty specialist, that there are times where he's better against right-handed batters.
The line out, welcome back to the big leagues, caught by Goldschmidt.
And the reason that's so is he doesn't really think of himself as a breaking ball pitcher. He's more of a splitter, and a left-handed splitter is unusual. The career numbers, I mean, that's not too bad. 3.66 ERA and a 15-8 record. Again, the Cardinals got him from the Yankees, and he just had some good moments and some bad moments last year, and the Cardinals really gave his job in spring training. He was not doing as well as Tyler Webb was, so Webb earned the job.
Go back and look at his numbers a few years ago. Shreve in the very tough American League East, and it was eye-popping the kind of numbers he put up. By the way, Tommy Lane was also one that was competing.
Yep.
And he stepped away from the game, and you never know, he may come work for the Cardinals. He's a hometown guy. Never got the chance though to wear that Cardinal uniform in a major league game, but competed this spring. Had a nice major league career.
And he did well in spring too. He had a couple of nice moments. Those spring battles are much more interesting than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was before, several years ago, would be you already know your team and you already know your bench and you already know your bullpen. That's not true anymore.
2-1 pitch. Cabrera reaching for it, hit to center, and Fowler with the catch. Shreve had 37 appearances at AAA, couple of saves. ERA that was just under 4 in nearly 43 innings, and you got to wonder how sharp he'll be today, because he had the All-Star break and he hasn't pitched since before the break, so it's been a while. Colin Moran, a single and a walk.
So he's thrown since then. He just hasn't pitched since then.
That's correct.
And that's a very different thing, isn't it?
Just trying to stay sharp. The feel of the baseball, live action, spotting the ball, cannot be duplicated other places.
And maybe he's the right guy to be on the positive end of a big Cardinal rally in the bottom of the 5th inning. Redbirds will have Martinez, Goldschmidt, and O'Neill. And you just don't want to settle into a 4-2 game. So I'd like to see the Cardinals come out swinging next inning. And I also wanted to pass along, we are up to 41 countries, 31 countries that are tuned into our telecast, plus Puerto Rico, this is American U.S. territory, plus a gentleman tweeted in from Area 51. He's watching the game with the aliens.
Area 51. It's known as our TV truck.
Not making that up. So it's more than just a world game.
And that catches the corner. And the 2-2 pitch to Moran, and he hammers it down the right field line. Foul. Moran a single to center and a walk.
Apparently, in that seat, she was just kind of enjoying the game and not really watching it. The ball just went right over her head.
Center field, Fowler and Shreve, first appearance back in the big leagues. 1, 2, 3. Martinez, Goldschmidt, O'Neill coming up for St. Louis. The Pirates on top, 4-2. The Reds and the Cardinals coming up. Budweiser, what's on tap? And there's a look at the start times, night games, and then the early start on Sunday. And then we'll head to Pittsburgh. Derek Dietrich, Joey Votto, Yasiel Puig, and Dakota Hudson going tomorrow against Tanner Roark. And again, we're on the air at 5:30 St. Louis time.
Really the first blip today in the Cardinals starting rotation. They've been so good the last 6 starts. Ponce looked like he was going to be sharp today and just ran into one bad inning and couldn't get out of it, and had to be rescued by Dominic Leone. But always excited to see Dakota Hudson pitch, because he's been on a tear, a long one.
And then he had the one short outing, and then he's had an inning in which, you know, it looks like it's going to cost him. He's going to be taken out of the game, and all of a sudden you look up, he's in the 6th or the 7th.
Well, that's his development, I think, as a young pitcher. I thought last year he had a hard time getting out of those moments, and that some of that was out of the bullpen too. So he worked out of the bullpen, did a great job, I thought. But there were several times where I just thought it got away from him. But I guess as a starter, you can't afford to, every time it starts to get away from you, take him out, because you'll be taking him out all the time. And Mike Schilt, Mike Maddox have been sticking with him, and I think that's paid dividends. He's learned to get out of him, and it's not that he didn't know how, but at the big league level, it's just tougher.
Cardinals, you know, that loss yesterday, it stings not only to lose the game, but you just got the feeling that they win that game, maybe they start an extended run and get on one of those patented runs that get you the push you need down the stretch. And near the end of July here, I mean, you think about the '64 Cardinals. They went 10-3 to finish that season. The 2011 Cardinals, how they finished that year, which really began in August, playing playoff type baseball to sneak in and then win the World Series. Now the '64 Cardinals had a little help. Trailed the Phillies by 11 games on August 23rd and 6.5 on September 20th, and 13 games remaining at that point. The Phillies went 2-10, and then the Cardinals snuck in, and they would beat the Yankees in 7 games to win the World Series.
So the question might be, if the Cardinals would have won last night, would have produced with runners at first and third, took the lead, kept the lead, locked down the lead, would they be feeling more confident trailing 4-2 in the 5th inning than they do right now? Or would there be more pressure on them? They have to figure out a way to get a comeback.
The strikeout of Martinez.
And that's what I'm talking about, the word pressure, and not necessarily momentum. It's not that winning yesterday would bring you momentum, but it would have a whole different feel if you're a Cardinal thinking, hey, we'll get there, we'll get there. We did it. You did it yesterday. We've won 4 in a row. It's just a different feel. Once you lose, you've got to rebuild that.
Yep, and that's my point.
Yeah, but I think pressure is at the root of that.
And A strike to Goldschmidt.
Might get a disagreement from one of our favorites, Tony La Russa, who loves the word pressure. He thinks players play best when they're under ultimate pressure because that's how you make diamonds. That's his comment. That's his line. And to a degree, I get that. But I think, well, I'm quite talking about a different kind of pressure. I think that starts to affect your mind and your confidence collectively. And I think that's what bad losses can do.
Here's a 1-1 to Paul Goldschmidt. Breaks his bat, and that'll carry out to Marte. Goldschmidt 0 for 2 with a walk.
Boy, they've been pounding him inside in this game.
Tyler O'Neill, the 2-out single to right field, picked up an RBI in the first inning, his 14th of the year. And a key moment in this game, in the second, with the bases loaded on a 3-2 pitch, caught looking on a slider that was borderline
at best.
That pitch was up, but as Ricky noted, Adrian Johnson, our home plate umpire, has been calling that.
Yeah, and then also too close to take.
Yep.
If you're Tyler O'Neill.
Goldschmidt, his walk was the last Cardinal base runner back in the second inning. Archer has retired now, 9 straight. And the 1-0. Nobody on, 2 outs, and a 1-1 pitch to O'Neill.
And O'Neill hits it a ton out to left. Homer. Home run, Tyler O'Neill. Second hit in this game. And he is getting hot. That's now 5 home runs this year, 4 on this homestand. He hung it, and that snaps a string of 9 straight set down by Archer.
Well, you hope he hangs it, but you still have to hit it. He hangs it, he hit it. 88, top of the zone, not much break to it. And at least for the moment, the Cardinals have themselves a cleanup hitter. Archer knew he hung it and figured he'd have to rub up a new one.
Here's Dexter Fowler. Reached on an error by Colin Moran and fly to right.
One ball, 1 strike. Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Tyler O'Neill.
You can see the bigger dot, the bigger spin. It's not a tight spin. It's not down and away. And O'Neill flexes his muscles again.
All kinds of room on the left side. 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Milwaukee leading Atlanta 2-0. Cubs also by that same score leading the Cincinnati Reds. Cardinals 2 games back of Chicago at the start of play today. And the 2-2. Interesting, with 2 strikes, it seems, with nobody on, that's when teams will really have the exaggerated shift. And with Fowler, it started with the exaggerated shift, and then the shortstop moving to the shortstop side of the second base bag. Don't see that very often.
No, we saw it the other day against somebody, and I think it was Colton Wong, and it did seem like almost like a reversed shift as far as the count was concerned.
2 strikeouts in the inning, 7 today for Archer. But with 2 outs, he hung it. O'Neill picks up the homer. It's 4-3. Tyler O'Neill, couple of hits. He's driven in 2, and it's 4-3. The 4th pitcher used by the Cardinals gets a fresh inning to start with. Chevy call to the pen. John Brebbia.
Mr. Personality. Love being around John Brebbia. You talked about players yesterday need to show their personality. Well, he's got plenty of it. And the number's pretty good for John Brebbia. And at times he's just a strikeout guy. I mean, he can get some swings and misses when his slider's right, throws mid-90s when he's at his best. And he is a new dad, too. Fairly new dad.
When he gets rest, man, he's tough. He comes in fresh.
Hard to get rest as a new dad, of course.
That's right.
But it's all fastballs and sliders. That's the Hyundai pitch arsenal. And my favorite thing that Brebbia said when he came back after the paternity leave was he said, was asked about the name of his son, and he said, well, we're going to name him Yadier Wainwright Brebbia. And my wife has a lot of Wainwrights on her side of the family, and we have a lot of Yadiers on my side. That's what he said. Now, is that John Brebbia or not?
That's him.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of Yadiers in his hometown in Massachusetts.
Yeah. I don't think so. 2-1 pitch. Gung launches one down the left field line. And foul. Whew. Just above the Lindenwood sign down the left field line. Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri. Boy, they have put out some incredible athletes over the years.
And a pretty good play-by-play guy.
There's a swing and a miss. Gung strikes out. Yeah, his name's Neil Fisher. Neil Fisher, really good play-by-play guy. Just graduated.
That's another one I'm thinking of.
Andy Roth. Andy Roth was really good. I don't know if you heard of him. Oh, Ricky, I went to Lindenwood University.
Oh, that's who it was. Yep. Now you got
kind
it.
of you.
Now you got it.
Played baseball there and enjoyed my time.
How many big flies you have at Lindenwood?
Handful.
As if you don't know the exact number. Are you kidding me?
I really don't.
Boy, I would know the number, the temperature, the pitch.
Ricky, like some that are in our viewing audience, college was a fog.
Okay.
A little foggy on the memory there.
I'll stop asking questions then right now.
Going to class was debatable.
So you may have memories of hitting one that maybe you really didn't, is what you're saying.
No.
Oh, okay.
Bob Ramsey went to Lindenwood. Bob Ramsey, the Billiken Hall of Famer. He needs, I think he might be in the Lindenwood Hall of Fame. I'm not sure. There's a swing and a miss. If he's not, he should be. Bob does a great job on the Billiken broadcast.
Yes, he does.
Done it for years. So much fun to listen to with Earl Austin Jr. And that duo is up there with the best in college basketball.
I did my first color play-by-play game with Bob Ramsey.
Did you really?
Over in Belleville. It was a youth baseball tournament, and it was Puerto Rico against Colombia, and it was 12-year-olds that we didn't know.
How'd you do on the names?
Not very well, and it was about 130 degrees.
Tim Garcia's telling me he was with us. You had that thing that, you know, how you get the extra light on the field as if we needed it. They were shining the light on us with that silver
light you up
silver
the
deal that
cameras.
was
collect
some
the sun.
evil thing to make it even hotter for us. And it was 100. I mean, it was smoking. But Bob was great.
Rammer's good dude. One of my favorites. He is in the Lindenwood Hall of Fame. Randy Carricker has been a longtime talk show host and started at KMOX and now works at 101 ESPN here in town. He went to Lindenwood. Earl Austin Jr. played basketball there and was a terrific player. Uncle is Wes Unseld. It's hit out of play. Yeah, Rammer had he had me on the edge of my seat listening to him call the championship game of the A10 final. I was in my car and listening, and he's going crazy, and as he's going crazy, I'm going crazy. I love the excitement he brings to a game.
Be careful being on the edge of your seat while you're driving.
I get it. I was fired up. Rammer gets me that way. Brebbia strikes out the side, and it's 4-3. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University Physicians, national leaders in medicine. And by Ford, the official car and truck of the St. Louis Cardinals. In St. Louis, in a hot afternoon, we move to the bottom of the 6th. 1-run lead for the Pirates. McDonald's Ticket Fest is back for 2019. You can purchase tickets to see the Cardinals and Cubs August 1st. That'll end that series. Begins on July 30th. $10 seats for you. Cardinals.com/McDonald's. Ballpark Village, it's nice and cool. That's a place to take in a little baseball and some fun over there. I'd say that's been a pretty good investment by the club.
No doubt. Always fun to be over there. There's a ton of people there having a great time. And I love that TV screen, too. That is just spectacular.
The Blues run, that was the place to be, wasn't it?
And I believe I was standing there with Scott Warman watching a particular college team win the NCAA championship game.
Lindenwood?
No.
Oh. Virginia. Go ahead, get it out of the way now. You went there, played there, drafted out of there.
It was a nice moment. Scotty and I got to share that after a post game.
Scott Warman went to Lindenwood.
There's another one.
Yep. Here's an 0-1 pitch now. DePaul DeYoung 0-for-2 with a pair of strikeouts. And hits a high fly ball out to left field. Melky Cabrera backing up and makes the catch.
Boy, that was not far off of a pitch that Paulie could drive, and he got under it just a little bit, maybe in on him a little bit. Just like to see him get that stroke back again. He's so important to the Cardinals offense. And as we look at that pitch again, it's Archer trying to go in on him and up, and he leaves it out over the plate just a little bit, but maybe up too much for Paul to be able to get the barrel on it. Pretty close. I have a good feeling about this game.
More than likely the final inning for Archer, 92 pitches. We'll see. Here's Jairo Munoz. He has 1 home run this year. That was in Seattle. Today, an infield hit, run scored back in the 2nd, and also fly to center field.
I would say that Archer was actually in that tweener stage of being pinch hit for in the 6th inning with 90 pitches after 5. Liriano getting ready for the Pirates with him at the end of the trail very soon. 94 pitches, as you mentioned, on a hot day. I'd say that's about max, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. That's hit out of play. You never know who's going to pop in the booth, and we get a visit from.
We have Cardinal Hall of Famers all over the place.
Guy affectionately known as Hollywood by some, Diamond Jim. Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds has stopped by.
Better than texting you, I guess, right?
Yeah, nothing better to do. There's a diving catch.
Good outfield play when Jim shows up. That's how that works.
Yeah. I was very entertained the other night when you guys were getting all the alumni to
you
text
like that?
in. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that there were that many guys actually kind of tuned in, watching us and connected and all? That was great.
Yeah, of course everyone's watching. I mean, I was watching, and I'm here all the time. So.
And I just threw out Mike James, and apparently you kind of connected him to us, and that was great.
I texted him. I know he was at work.
Couldn't find Ricky Patalico and Tony Fossis, and then who else did I say? Geronimo Pena.
I had the kids yelling in my ear, and Mike James's name stuck out to me. Like I was like, oh gosh, I got to text him. You got to call in.
Firefighter now.
Yeah, he's doing great down there in Marietta, Florida.
2 outs, and here's Kisner.
Got his first hit today, huh?
How about that?
That's awesome. I'm with you on the goosebumps, by the way.
Oh my goodness, I just love that moment.
I tell that to Danny all the time when we talk about what it's like in the dugout when a young guy comes up and how much everyone wants to see him get his first hit or that first strikeout. It's just like, it really does kind of liven up the group.
Pulling for him, feeling for him. You remember your own experience with it and somebody being kind to you. It just sticks out to you so much. You know how important it is to the young player.
1 ball, 1 strike here on Kisner, and this guy can hit. We've seen that.
Yeah, I was listening when you were talking about his stats. I forgot that he had done that well in the minor leagues.
You actually were paying attention to what I said?
Yeah. I was packing up my bag and listening to the game.
Well, I guess I just figured out who I'm working with tomorrow. Are you doing television? What are you doing? TV. Okay, good.
Danny, you're there. That's all that matters. Hey, look, one of us will show up. You just
know he can do it by himself. Actually, both of us will be there. So.
Oh, that's right.
He has backup.
We can help you, Danny.
It'd be a shame if something happened to one of you guys. Jeez.
Then you just would continuously do the game by yourself. Like you're doing all the time.
Jim, I hate to tell you, it's his dream.
So he doesn't have to look over at us and talk to us.
Right.
You guys are the best. You make it easy.
And there's a ground ball to short. When I played at Lindenwood.
Let me tell you about what he's trying to do here. Yeah, the competition a little different at the old Elwood.
Still competition, though. Still great.
It was a lot of fun. Strikeout of Kisner, and that may be it for Archer. 8 strikeouts here this afternoon. Diamond Jim is with us, and he will stay with us. For the 7th. Chris Archer, his day is through, and he finishes the ball game with a strikeout. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all were earned, walked a couple, and struck out 8 along the way.
Kind of glad to see him going out right now, although early on I thought maybe he was gettable, as I mentioned, but he settled in and had several good innings in a row. And other than the O'Neill home run, did not give up a hit after midway through the 2nd inning. So good outing. Clint Hurdle needed him to have that. His bullpen has been struggling, although, of course, last night they didn't struggle very much.
Well, that left-handed closer they got.
Oh boy, throwing 100.
Yeah.
Vasquez. And the first out, and that's now 4 in a row out of the pen for John Brebbia.
Good that Jim Edmonds is joining us here, Danny. Jimmy, I don't know if you heard us talking. We were asking about folks that may be watching because it's a day game here in St. Louis from around the world, and I've been writing them down. See, there's my list. 32 countries. I got tweets from people from 32 countries watching us live.
Aren't you supposed to be working and not checking your Twitter?
I'm multitasking.
Hit down the right field line.
I had my people do it.
There you go. Well, we have all these stats guys up here. I mean, it's amazing. You have a secretary over to your right.
Yes, I do. Yep.
A social media person behind you.
Oh, yeah. They're all over. Kind of crowded in here. But you're welcome anytime.
Thank you. See that my spare headset here with no seat is working out great for you guys.
Well, you want to sit down?
No, sir. I'll be sitting down on the plane, so I'm good. Looking for a happy flight, as they say.
You bet.
I was fascinated with that the stats you were talking about with the getting ahead in the count today. I was thinking to myself, how come I don't get that stuff when I'm doing the games? And Truck must be favoring you, Ricky. That was a good one today.
No, Jimmy, I can answer that question. It's called homework and research. Okay, you might want to look into it.
That came from you? That didn't come from you.
You two want to go off to the side and talk about this?
I love giving him trouble.
He acts like I don't pay attention ever. He's pretty much 50% right.
Oh, you know he does.
Swing and a miss by Reynolds, and that strikeout number 4 for Brebbia out of the pen.
There's a high fastball and a strikeout. And Jim, just talking about that count and the changes from being ahead in the count and behind the count, that's something you knew as a hitter just instinctively, that if you're behind in the count, you're in trouble.
But isn't it amazing how drastic the difference is?
Well, in the good old days, though, when you were ahead in the count, you were going to get a fastball, but not anymore.
Right.
I mean, I can see why the 0-0 count, maybe even the 1-0 and 0-1 count. But later on, and I don't know, it seems like the league right now is pitching backwards a lot, and it's it's definitely a adjustment, especially for the young players.
I don't know if you feel this way, Ricky, and pitching backwards. I think Yachty calls a game a lot of times that way, backwards. And he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, but that is definitely, I think, I don't know, you can ask Rick, he sees a lot more games than I do, but I feel like that's the way the game has gone now. Maybe Yachty was a trendsetter, but it's definitely, I mean, I think that's why you see the AAA guys come up and struggle a little bit, because you're not getting a fastball 2-1, 2-0, 3-1 all the time.
I think my answer would be that there are guys that in the past didn't maybe have as good a stuff as everybody else, had to learn to pitch backwards to be successful, and I would say I was one of those. I mean, I pitch backwards all the time because I had to. Otherwise, I'd be in trouble. So that was my way. But for the guy coming up throwing 95 that's pitching backwards, that's what's new about it to me.
2-2, hit up the middle, off the mound, and the play is made. It's time to stretch. Brebbia, good work to score this innings. Pinch hitter, top of the lineup coming up. Better than ever. Fill up 8 gallons or more. Get a voucher for up to 50% off on 8 tickets. Cardinals.com/Phillips66. Jim Edmonds, Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin here in the booth. Cardinals down by a run. Archer now out of the game. He went 6 innings, 5 hits. Gave up 3 runs, all earned. Struck out 8 along the way. Walked 2. And it's now our Chevy call to the pen, and Francisco Liriano. This guy's tough.
And what we talked last night, what we like about Liriano is he has a slider and a changeup. They're essentially the same speed, and they look the same until it gets right at the heart of the plate, and it either goes left or right. So he's a hard guy to square up. Been a starter in his past.
Down to home in the bullpen with the Pirates now, and he's facing the pinch hitter Harrison Bader, and boy, he needs to get going, and no time like the present. The Cardinals need a base runner. Still have a very good feeling about this game, and I'm feeling even better now that Jimmy's with us.
Oh, quit kissing up. Chevy call to the pen takes us to Liriano, and then the Honda home run inning. Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri if the Cardinals get a home run this inning.
You make me do it to you, but you won't let me do it to Jim? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, Ricky.
Okay. All right.
It's amazing. I was just looking. He's only 35 years old. Seems like he's been in the league forever. Liriano. Yeah. This was the one guy that I remember watching that I wouldn't say I didn't want to face, but wasn't looking forward to facing for the reasons that you said. I felt like every ball came out of his hand, and then late went one way or the other.
And that's where you get the swing and the miss, the weak contact, and that's how he's lived.
1-2 on Bader, outside 2-2. Was so good too against the Cardinals, and we mentioned lefties against St. Louis, but there are the numbers for Liriano, and that's a long history against the Redbirds.
Would you be shocked if I told you he had a 4.1 ERA lifetime with his stuff?
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
And he's below 500 wins and losses.
I'm more surprised at that.
Well, he hasn't played on the best team, but I can't believe that clearly the run support situation is not there for him.
Also shows you how tough this game is.
Yeah.
Two and two the count on Harrison Bader. Off the end of the bat, little squibber. Taken there by Osuna for the out. Liriano's a guy too that can give them multiple innings. It's not just your lefty coming in to get a couple of guys out. He'll stay in there for a length of time.
First guy I heard that from as a big league manager was Clint Hurdle, and that's been, I guess it's been about 3 years. They took 5 starters, put them in the bullpen, and said, we want you all to be ready. Genmar Gomez was one of them, a guy that they had as a starter in the minor leagues. They had several others, and they said, okay, we want you to be out there and be ready to throw 3 innings, everybody. And they conditioned them all to throw 3. And he didn't want to necessarily have to use a bullpen where it's lefty, righty, lefty, righty. He wanted guys, right-handers that could get lefties out and righties out both. And he felt that that was a better way to run a bullpen. It's actually what Mike Shildt would like to move towards and has been trying to move towards that with guys like John Gant, who I think you would put in that category as a guy that can go multiple innings.
Sure.
And what's pretty interesting too, what you're saying is in Pittsburgh so far, Liriano is just in there for usually 1 inning. And stats are telling that is more effective that way.
Right,
so maybe that's it.
2 balls, 1 strike. Tommy Edman. So Bader pinch hit for Brebbia. 2 scoreless innings, and along the way 4 strikeouts. The 2-1.
Maybe a overstatement, but when you watch Brebbia pitch when he's on, it's hard to imagine anybody in the Cardinals bullpen that's better than him. I mean, he seems like he's got the best stuff. Now, he's not always on, but when he's at his best, he's unhittable.
Well, he's been on for a long time. I feel like he got a little tired in the first half, and we had spoke about it, that maybe that break was good for him.
And that is ruled a foul ball. And a quick ruling on that. And it looked like it went over the bag and hit fair. And last night, it was a ball that looked foul, ruled fair.
Huh.
But that was on the line or inside it, and immediately called over the bag as a foul ball. Boy, very close.
I would say that looks similar to the play yesterday. It hits about 4 inches foul, 3 inches foul maybe, but it doesn't matter where it hits. Doesn't matter where it hits. Where is it over the bag?
Good job, Tommy.
And it still doesn't matter.
And a base hit into center, Tommy Edman, and he's on base for the 3rd time.
I've been watching this game for a long time. There's no way that ball can be foul if it only lands 3 or 4 inches.
I would agree with you.
That far away from the home.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought last night about the same thing. If it's going to go that much past the bag, that where is it over the bag? But Tommy Edman makes it a moot point by driving the ball back up the box, and another good at bat, Jimmy, for this young switch hitter.
That's only the Cardinals' 2nd hit in the last 5 innings. They had Archer on the ropes there in the first 2. Jose Martinez now.
Ready to call this big fly, Danny?
I'm ready. Jimmy, you want to call it?
No, I'll stay out of the way.
All right. Your time against Liriano, Jimmy, do you remember one way or another? Was Liriano the kind of guy that was good at holding runners on, or could you get a read off him?
I think he's pretty short to the plate. I don't remember facing him a whole lot. But he's pretty quick to the plate, and I think that's what makes him so effective too, his short armor.
Here's a 1-0 inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Edman is a threat to steal. One of the fastest Cardinals currently. Well, you could have Martinez hit here and then keep Bader in the game. Potentially take Martinez out, put him your next reliever in that spot in the lineup. We'll see. 2-1. So here you go. That count, that's a hitter's count. That's the average, 351.
So the swing pitch
went his way.
Ooh. That's a foul ball off his foot.
And that's slider, changeup. I didn't even see the direction it broke.
That's what we were talking about. Unless you see that last few inches, you don't know.
So you get an off-speed pitch, which the point is 2-1. You get an off-speed pitch.
Right.
That didn't happen 10 years ago.
And what happens to the total league average on a 2-2 count? Down to 182.
Wow.
On just that one strike. How pivotal that strike is when it's 2-1.
2-2 here. Martinez fouled it back.
I always thought that, you know, in the situation where you're hitting here 2-2, I think it's a tough count because you know a lot of guys try to get you to chase.
Right.
So your mind at the plate sometimes, unless you know a guy, is like,
chase.
is he going to try to get me to chase, or is he going to come after me? Or most of the time 2-2, you know, they don't really worry about going 3-2. So it's like, it's a cat and mouse game like that right there. You know, he tries to get in right there, and now you're like, okay, he tried to challenge me maybe, but I guarantee you here comes a changeup or the cutter.
Now will Edman be running here? I would guess yes.
3-2.
Well, his time has been above 1-3 this whole time, so if he could get a jump, I'm sure he'll take off.
League average in this count 205. Martinez the exception. He's 350. Running and a ball. So 2 on now for Goldschmidt. And Clint Hurdle will go to a right-hander more than likely here. Michael Feliz will be his second appearance in the series. That's it for the lefty, Francisco Liriano. 2 runners on, 1 out, 1-run game. Goldschmidt coming up. Official partner of the Cardinals StubHub. Even after the first pitch, you can get your tickets through StubHub. So Feliz in to face Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt today is popped out to short on the first pitch, walked and flied to center. 27th appearance for this right-hander. Chevy called to the pen.
Well, he was another piece in that deal where Garrett Cole went to the Astros. They got Musgrove, who pitched in this series, Colin Moran, their third baseman, and Feliz.
I think if I'm Goldschmidt, I'd rather face Feliz than the lefty that they had out there in Liriano.
I think I'm with you on that.
Just from watching for the last 17 years.
Good speed at second base. That's Tommy Edman. 1 out, 2 on. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. Insurance at the plate.
See if they continue to try to pound Goldie in. That's what they've been doing this game. Got jammed in the first inning, got jammed in the 5th inning, walked in the 2nd.
And that's why they do it right there. Start to get you to look for that pitch.
Setting you up.
Yep.
What are you seeing out of Goldie, Jimmy?
Same thing. I think he's just missing. I think he's been hitting the ball a little bit better, but you see those balls that he hit to the warning track, and the one that fell and the one that got caught. It's like he's just leaving it just enough to not keep his weight behind it to give it that extra little oomph to be a home run.
Now, is that a byproduct of maybe knowing teams are busting him in hard and trying to get the barrel out and cheating?
Well, I think that's still left over from what he was doing earlier, which was trying to clear his hips and hit the ball the other way. And now I think he's trying to make that adjustment. But yeah, when guys are pitching in, it's tough because your brain is telling you, if he pitches me in, I'm going deep, and and that's just really not the case. If he pitches you in too much, you need to just take it, because that's what they're trying to do.
Did not go. So there's that pitch again on 1-1, and it goes to the favor of Goldschmidt. 2-1 now.
That swing pitch, exactly. So important for both hitter and pitcher. Just changes your mindset about what you're trying to do.
375 in this count. Two on, 2-1 pitch.
So, guys, you think about the comments that we make every fifth day about a guy like Miles Michaelis who throws 70% first pitch strikes. Why does that matter? Why are we making a big deal out of that? Well, all these counts we're talking about throughout the game today show us that when you do get ahead, you are just so much more likely to get the batter out. It's as simple as that. And so Michaelis with the first pitch strikes, we see that from Flaherty too. It's just part of pitching.
Well, hitting's such a mind game too, and as soon as you get down in the count, you start to panic a little bit because you know you only have 3 pitches.
Goldschmidt a drive into deep left at the wall. Goodbye. Goodbye. 3-run homer, and the Cardinals go back on top.
Maybe he heard us.
For Cardinals. Home run number 18, Goldschmidt. $1,000, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Gateway Honda dealers, and these fans, I think, want a curtain call. Paul, it's just part of the deal here in St. Louis.
I could get used to it.
Yep. The good feeling I had just got better.
How many ways can we go with this right now? You got the tick up the lefty, who we all know is nasty. You bring in the righty, and then Goldie working on getting pitched inside and trying to stay on the ball. And everything just worked out for him.
And I think you're right. He'd rather face this guy than Liriano.
O'Neill pops it up, and the catch is made. Out number 2.
One more
Cardinals and Goldie need this.
Yeah, there's the pitch inside we were talking about. That's right on the black, 96.
But you better get it in.
Yeah.
Especially if you're pounding him in. I don't know about you guys, but my headphones are a little off. Look up here, but that ball was loud in person.
No, it was loud. And there's the mini curtain call.
Not really got the Mark McGwire curtain call down yet, does he?
He's a little, that's just kind of him, though.
Yeah. Well, the first time I think we were losing. And that time he should have enjoyed that one. That was a big one.
Well, I think he also recognized there that Tyler O'Neill wasn't really, he was in the box.
Yeah. Tyler needs to work on his too.
He needs to tie a shoe or something.
It's an art to it all the way around.
Part of the theater.
It's kind of like Yachty's got that down when he goes out there and lets the old players get the ovation, and these guys going to learn from it.
Oh, there's ants in front of the plate. He's kicking at him. Yeah, he's just cleaning up the area.
Well, we're doing theater here, and Tyler just missed his cue. That's all.
Exactly.
As Dexter hits that out of play. Now Andrew Miller is throwing in the Cardinal pen, which would then tell you maybe that Carlos Martinez would be available, even though he pitched last night. Short turnaround. John Gant, Gallegos maybe. We'll see how Mike Schill wants to play it.
Tell you what, all hands on deck right now for me. If you can throw and you feel good, I'm going to use you today if I need you, because these games are getting important. And you got to push this winning streak in these games that you're winning as far as you can go.
And the number of innings that the bullpen has had to throw since the All-Star break is extremely low. Yeah, and there's no day off going forward, yes, but they've been rested for the most part collectively. And the hope is that the starting staff will continue to go out there and throw 7. That's a game changer for Mike Schill. He was talking about that. We need our starters to go deeper. But we want our bullpen to be as sharp as possible. Our starters need to go deeper.
3-2 tap foul. As you, Ricky, being a former bullpen guy, I think that's been an overlooked aspect of what Mike Shildt has done with the club this year. He has kept guys healthy in that bullpen for the most part. Now Hicks is out. I mean, you can do only so much, but how he uses guys in situations, keeping them ready.
Well, I think he's used everybody as part of it. I mean, you have to have a balance in your bullpen. You can't use one guy 5 days in a row. You just can't do it and expect for him to be healthy going forward. There are times where you're going to have to go with your plan B and your plan C, and I'm not criticizing plan B and C as if they're not big leaguers. I mean, if you're on the big league team, you ought to be used as a bullpen.
And I've always felt that way too. I can't stand when managers just throw the same guy out there in a close game, regardless up or down, and one or two guys down there not pitching, and those one or two guys that get you maybe through an inning here and there, even though you don't have that much confidence in them, you have confidence enough in those guys to make this team right. They should get some outs. Right. Yeah, and those guys are saving the other big guys for when you really do need them, and you don't have that. You have a luxury now of using who you want versus, oh man, it's a close game, I'm throwing Brebby out there, and then I'm throwing Miller, and then I'm throwing this guy. Well, the other guys are capable of getting outs when it's a one-run game, whether you're down or up.
If you don't use a guy like John Brebbia in a close game, maybe you make that decision twice in a row, you're not going to change your mind the third time. You're going to still have that ongoing feeling that I can't use him here.
When you think about what a manager can control, running games, try to improve your defense, but certainly very important how you use your bullpen. Well, right now they're not worried about the bullpen because of that swing. Everybody buzzing here in the ballpark. A 3-run homer for Paul Goldschmidt, and the Cardinals go back on top. Paul Goldschmidt with the home run to put the Cardinals on top, 6-4. So Goldschmidt home run number 18, and now it's Andrew Miller. Last two appearances he gave up a home run to Jake Lamb and then came back the next day and walked the only batter that he saw. So Bader stays in the ball game, and Fowler shifting to right field from center. Harrison in center field. Jose Osuna, and the 0-1 pitch. Now time called.
Been a roller coaster season for Andrew Miller. There are times where he's flying high and looking good, and the slider's sharp, and he's using the fastball to supplement that still has good velocity. And there are other times where his command's not there, and the slider sweeps a little bit and is more hittable. You leave that slider spinning on the inner half to a left-hander, and you're asking for trouble.
Well, I like looking up there right now and seeing 93 and not 90, 91.
Seen that at times, a dip in velocity. Jimmy, we were doing a game in spring training, and Rick, you guys were not doing it on radio, so it was a game you were not on. I specifically remember that, and I came back and I told you, I said, the gun has got Andrew Miller at 98.
That one day, and that was the last time too.
Now we haven't seen it since then, but there's a strike with a slider. But
you were not looking at the temperature of the ballpark.
Yeah, maybe we were.
Oh, that's what it was.
I'm just wondering.
No, we were doing a game, and he threw a fastball at 94, and then a fastball at 95, and then 96, and then 97, and back-to-back fastballs.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh boy, we got us something here. And then that was about right when he started to struggle right after that. And
sure
I don't mean struggle. He just kind of hit a little bit of a wall.
We could throw strikes too.
Right.
In the last week and a half of spring training, he struggled a little bit.
And that's outside. Our crowd today, 43,186, 43186. Last night's crowd was over 43,000. Cardinals went past 2 million in attendance, 24th season in a row, and it's second highest attendance this year behind the Dodgers. And a strikeout for Miller to start the inning.
A sweeping slider can work against right-handers as much as it can left-handers if you throw it in the right spot. And he crowds Ozuna right in on the hands, and it has it's such a wide break to it. I mean, it's not just a little 3 or 4 inches. It goes almost across the plate. So you start to swing at it and you just get tied up.
Jimmy, you being a left-handed batter, I could see where Miller would be about the most uncomfortable guy you could face.
Well, I think that for me, I would just look for anything in. because if he throws you anything away, even the fastball is going to run from you a little bit because he's throwing kind of across his body. And if he starts a slider away, it's definitely going to end up a ball. So I'm going to look in on my hands and try to get the head out, and then just hopefully he doesn't make some good pitches.
And Cabrera hit the deck. I think he may be saying he was grazed by the pitch. I'm not sure, but I don't think it did.
I'm also thinking that he's probably not happy.
Yeah, that's up in that dangerous territory there.
Well, he was looking at the umpire, then he looked in the Cardinals dugout, then he looked in his own dugout, so he was looking for some answers. I think he was just trying to recover a bit.
Yeah, they are going to look at this. By the way, the Goldschmidt home run, he's pointing to where he got hit on the arm. 9 of his 18 this year have tied a game or given the Cardinals the lead. And boy, did they need that one. As everybody in the ballpark now watching the video board to see if he was hit by the pitch. Very tough to tell.
Yeah, the first replay I saw, it'd be impossible to tell. I've actually seen it from 2 angles. Still can't tell for sure. They'd have to really get a small view of it and see if there's some movement of his sleeve. It was about bicep high.
Well, I think he was saying it hit him on the wrist, so that's the second part of the arm it passed.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see Kistner saw it the whole way.
Yeah, he's looking down at the ground.
Like, this is going to hit me too.
I don't know how he caught that ball, frankly. I guess he guessed right. And I noticed that Cabrera looked out towards Andrew Miller, and they had a little, I would say,
made you wonder if there's a history there.
Well, but the conversation was good. It's like, hey, that's, you know, I didn't mean to do that, blah, blah, blah. And it goes the Cardinals' way. Call stands.
So 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out. And a fly ball out to deep left. Going back, it's O'Neill and Bader. Bader with the catch. Some sad news to pass along. Ernie Broglio has passed away. Ernie Broglio passes away at the age of 83, and he'll always be remembered for the Lou Brock deal. Broglio, the other half of that Brock deal. It was in June of 1964, and Ernie had been battling cancer. He died in San Jose, according to his daughter. Brock went on to hit .348 for the Cardinals after they acquired him, and the rest is history.
Met Ernie Broglio at a Cardinals Care winter warm-up signing, and it could not have been a more gracious gentleman. And I'm so sorry to hear that. He was really a good Cardinal pitcher, and the Cardinals gave up one of their top starters, and he would have been a good pitcher for the Cubs. He just got hurt.
He had 21 wins in 1960.
Yeah, so it's not fair to say, well, that didn't work out. Well, it didn't work out because he got hurt. And again, you can't always control that.
And he was always so. I did a few events with Lou and Ernie.
Together, yes.
Together, right. And he was always so gracious.
Yes.
Understanding that he was part of a lopsided deal, but very gracious about it. 2-1 the count on Colin Moran, who has walked and also singled, and gets him to reach. Ground ball. Goldschmidt to Miller. Middle of the 8th. Goldschmidt home run the difference, and the Cardinals have a 6-4 lead. Paul Goldschmidt with that drive. 3-run homer last inning to put the Cardinals back in the lead. Number 18 this year. He's driven in 43. And a curtain call for Goldie. We're in St. Louis, a hot afternoon. Jim Edmonds not being paid for this appearance, but he is in the booth. because he's got to catch the flight to Cincy.
Well, he's not getting paid in money, but he's getting paid in enjoyment.
I am enjoying this for sure.
And that's the voice of Rick Horton. It's paid too much, and I'm Dan.
Anything is too much.
Paid handsomely, Ricky.
This is a great gig, isn't it?
It's the best.
We've got a great seat.
I like this three-man booth. This is fun. I got a pitcher, I got a hitter, and then there's me.
And then we got you.
That's right.
College catcher.
Part-time. Yeah.
Well, you were studying all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ricky. Catch this time made by Moran off the bat of Paul DeYoung. I don't know if I ever told you guys how good I was at wiffle ball, and that's Ozuna.
I'm sure that's exactly what Ozuna and Goldschmidt
were just talking about your college career. But nice to see Marcell around and engaged. And, you know, the Cardinals missed him. He was leading the team in RBIs by a long shot when he went out. So he had a lot of opportunities, yes. But, you know, you get Tyler O'Neill heating up. You get Goldie heating up. You get Ozuna back. Maybe a little more thump in the middle of your lineup.
This is Munoz. Cardinals still trying to figure out the strength in the hands of Ozuna and Yadier Molina. I'm curious, this will be for Jimmy. I mean, we always talk about the bullpen guys, and Ricky, you can clearly you can talk, and then you had a lot of conversations when you played, so we all know that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
As Munoz fouls it back.
By the way, any mirrors at your house?
Good point. All right, cut Ricky's mic. This is Jimmy's inning. I'm always curious about guys that are everyday players, how much they talk in a game. You know, with video and scouting reports now so much a part of the game, as Munoz hits it down the left field line and they were shading him to pull, that a lot of times players, they'll make it out or a call will go against them and they go straight back to the video room instead of maybe going and talking to Ozuna or Goldschmidt or DeYoung and saying, what are you seeing with this pitcher? How is he approaching you on this count? What are you seeing that he's doing overall? I just wonder how much that is being done in today's game.
Well, I think you kind of hit something that I'll elaborate on, but back in the day, there was no video that you could run in there. You'd have to go in there and see.
And that's my point.
Kind of the feed that Chad Blair's working with, and kind of just go quickly and see something. But I feel like the reason why teams get so successful in the playoffs is because they do more of that talking in between each other, and they do a good job of that early on here. But I'll tell you what you do notice is you see guys run straight up there after that. But for sure, I think that's a really important, is to come back from your at bat and say, hey, the ball is cutting more than normal, or it's sinking, or it's really sinking. And sometimes you watch video on a guy and then you go face him and it's not even the same stuff.
But it's not only what the other guy's doing, but in the case of Ozuna and Goldschmidt, or Jeff Albert talking to Goldschmidt, they've been watching him all year, even as a teammate, coach, doesn't matter. And especially the hitters, you know what's up, and you can see when a guy's getting jammed over and over again, and then you see the difference about something he did on that swing, and you can offer a little key as to what can help you stay there.
Catch made in right.
Yeah, I think that part of the fun I had in spring training this year was getting to know Marcell a little bit, and I would take my phone into the dugout and I would video him every swing, because he was struggling.
Right?
Yeah, and then he would come back and he would look, and then to what your point was, Ricky, like with, just for example, today, they probably went back there and said, hey, Goldie, from here you look like you just made that adjustment where everything was connected, where earlier today you were stepping out a little bit, or I could see your front shoulder pulling off like so.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with Marcell. I kept saying we were trying to get him to stay back, and he wasn't staying back in spring training. And he thinks he's staying back, like you think you're doing something, and you're really not. And if you don't see it on video, so I had it firsthand, and I was just fooling around. But I took my phone in there and turned it sideways, and I was just filming each pitch as it came to him, so he could see real time what he was doing pitch by pitch.
And it's so kind of Andrew Kisner to show you while you're talking about that what pulling the front shoulder is all about.
What not staying on the ball is all about.
And that's exactly what he did the last 2 pitches.
0-2 the count here on Kisner. First major league hit back in the 2nd inning, and strikes out here. So Crick a scoreless inning in the bottom of the 8th, and now Carlos Martinez, he's got the 9th. It's 6-4 St. Louis. It's not the Brock umbrella, but it'll do. It works. Hot day here in St. Louis. Cole Wong comes into the ballgame at second base. Tommy Edman started at second and shifts over to third. And the new pitcher in is Carlos Martinez. And Ricky, I mean,
short memory.
You know, you've done it. You've been a closer before. You've had those good nights, bad nights, and I'm sure that when you have that bad night, you want to get back out there as fast as possible.
Yeah, closer or otherwise, if you work out of the bullpen, that's exactly what you want. I had that experience for only about 4 or 5 weeks, and you hope that Carlos has it for much longer, but the experience that he had last night, he just needs to, again, have that short memory. Jason Isringhausen used to talk about that all the time, short memory. Bruce Sutter said the same thing, and we'll see if that's the case with Carlos here this afternoon.
Jungle gun, and there's a strike. Would have been Gung's spot, and so Frazier coming in to pinch hit for him. 1 for 8 in this series, and a base hit to left, and so the tying run will come to the plate. Just fought it off enough. BJC healthcare difference maker. Cardinals fell behind, and Mike Schilt went and got Daniel Ponce de Leon, brought in Dominic Leone. We saw Chasen Shreve, Brebbia, 2 scoreless innings. Andrew Miller, and now Martinez. Josh Bell will hit.
And the weapon off the bench is Josh Bell, leading the National League in RBIs. Big time threat.
It's pretty impressive too, because you don't see a lot of lefties getting a chance to lead the league in RBIs, just simply for the fact that you get pitched around a whole lot more than righties.
Pinch hitting numbers have been extraordinary for the Pirates collectively, hitting .346, which is one of the best averages really of all time. But Bell in his career .412 with 3 doubles. Well, let's not look at those numbers any longer.
He's 2 for 14 against the Cardinal right-hander in his career. Bell hitting .158 since the All-Star break, and after a tremendous month of May has gone quiet. He's been around 200 overall, but still an impressive year. 2-2. Big swing pitch, even in a 2-1 count. Instead of 3-1, he got the call on the outside corner. 2-2.
If I'm not mistaken, Ricky, isn't every pitch a swing pitch?
Yeah. Well,
you really think about it?
It can be.
Maybe not statistically, but in the mind of both guys out there battling.
Puts it in play. Ground ball. Edman backs up. The turn by Wong, not in time. Get the lead man.
This is a nice turn by Colton Wong. This is something he struggled with, I think, a few years ago, as he got a little worried about, the guy sliding into him and making some tough throws that he didn't need to make. And was kind of hard on him a couple years ago, or even last year, saying, you have that slide rule now,
right?
And you got to stay in there and stay behind the bag.
Well, that is reviewable, and I think the Cardinals are going to review this, and this will be the slide.
Just to make sure. Now, the slide, he stopped at the bag, and he didn't exactly roll through him, but he rolled up on him a little bit. And, why not challenge it? It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, at this point in the game.
At this point in the game. And it might go your way, and who knows. And, frankly, I still believe that rule at second base, Jimmy, and the rule at home plate are still fuzzy in baseball. I think you could get different answers from different managers, and you get it from different players. Now, does he come up, and does he
Well, he doesn't come off the bag.
He doesn't come off the bag.
That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But really, I'm not. So I guess I shouldn't say that. But when you say I'm sorry,
did you interrupted both of us, or that you have something to say?
If this is if this is a double play,
that's wrong.
This isn't baseball.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Come on. I mean, I understand the rule and why you challenge, but man, oh man,
the fact that this is even a rule in baseball these days, where you can't slide it into second baseman. It's crazy to me.
Well, and to play at the plate in that horrific collision that happened with Lucroy the other day, the runner's got to have a place to go, and I think it's confusing there still. When the catcher goes up the line and is blocking the plate, what's the runner supposed to do? Exactly. And I'm not, I understand there was a little hoo-ha going on with Marisnik. He got thrown at, but because of that play against Lucroy, but still, I don't fully understand. I don't think that it's cut and dried what the rule is.
Well, I just don't think that you should be able to run over the catcher unless he is literally on top of the plate. I feel like they should have done a job where you can still block the plate and you can still run into the guy, but if you veer off that line, we are going to suspend you and fine you to get rid of that dirty play.
Yeah,
and the same thing with the second base. Break up a double play, but do
not the dirty play, right?
But do what you've always had to do: touch the bag at second base.
Right.
And if you barrel roll, you're done. Whatever, and then take it the next step and start finding guys and suspending guys for being nasty. But don't find a guy like Roland who took his job seriously and broke up a double play to try to get an RBI for a guy. We all did that. And that was part of the game.
Yeah. This is Dickerson with one out, runner at first. Cardinals 2 outs away from taking 2 of 3. And that's out of play. Well, you win this game, you have 4 wins and 6 out of the break.
2 series.
Yep.
Win series here on out. You'd like to win
all of them.
You're at the point where you want to go on a run, meaning you want to win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row. Maybe that's not going to happen, but you win series after series. Yeah, the series coming up are going to be tough.
Take the 6 or 7 or 8 series in a row. I think that'll be okay with them.
0-2 the count on Dickerson. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Kisner holds on, and there's 2 away.
Well, this one's not over yet, but the Cardinals will have a 4-game series with the Reds. They're much better. They're pitching better. Then they'll play the Pirates for 4 again. So you win the series means you got to win 3 out of 4. But then it's the Houston Astros and the Chicago Cubs back here in St. Louis, and boy, those would be nice series to win.
Tough series to win.
Ones. Yes.
Kevin Newman.
Let's worry about today.
Yep. 1 out to go. Tying run at the plate. Newman with 6 home runs this year. And strike 1. The 0-1. See the reaction there, Martinez. Boy, he wanted that. Is that backed up just a bit?
Not getting a whole lot of play on the edges of the strike zone since I've been standing up here. I'm pretty tight.
Ricky noted it's been a high strike zone for the better part of the game. The 1-1 pitch. Goldschmidt playing way off the line. They're giving Bell second base if he wants to take it. The 2-1. And it's a base hit into left. So the tying run's on base now, and the go-ahead run will come to the plate. Brings in Brian Reynolds. Had the RBI single that scored 2 back in the 4th.
Newman and Reynolds have been carrying this team. They're not necessarily power hitters, but they can hit both in 320s with their batting average. And this guy Reynolds, I mentioned he came out of nowhere. They traded him for McCutchen, so they knew, or they hoped he would be the player he is. But he's a tough out.
No doubles defense in the outfield. And that missed off the plate. Ball 1. Some anxious moments here late in game 3 of this series. And the 1-0 by Martinez. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A swing pitch coming.
Hopefully he swings and misses.
That's right.
The 1-1. Base hit into right. Bell will score. And now runners at the corners in a 1-run game. 6-5. You overcook a slider. Now with a runner at third, you could tie this game up with a wild pitch.
Well, the anxious moments just got more anxious. There's the grip, the calming words.
You know, Marte, memory serves correct, has had big numbers against Carlos Martinez. This is not the guy you want to see come up against Carlos Martinez.
Well, a while ago, early in this game, first inning, first Pirate run, it was Marte with his 16th of the season, and here he is again in the 9th inning, game on the line.
Felipe Vasquez getting loose in the bullpen. Richard Rodriguez as well for Pittsburgh, just in case. 1-run game. 2 outs, 2 on. 0-1 pitch to Marte. Fouled back. 99 there from Martinez. And the Pirates down to their final strike.
A little extra.
He did.
Just don't overcook the slider, as you said.
The 0-2. And Marte hits it in the air out to right. Fowler is over. Near the stands. Reaching in, and he can't come up with it as he goes over the wall. And a fan saying to get the medical team over and the training staff, and immediately Chris Conroy doing his best 40-yard dash. Good to see Fowler back up immediately. Great
Great effort here by Dex.
You know, you're so out of control here, and Jimmy can speak to this better than I can as an outfielder, but you get out there and now you've lost control and you're falling into a kind of uncharted territories. You can hit a seat,
you can hit your arm, you can hit your leg. A lot of bad things can happen, but a good effort by Dex.
But when you're that close, you're not giving up.
No, right. He didn't.
Says he's all right. Mike Schill went out there to check on him as well. But you appreciate the effort of Dexter Fowler.
No doubt. And every time I see a play like that, I think of Alan Craig.
It was in Houston. No balls, 2 strikes on Marte. Martinez trying to end it here with pitch number 20 here in the top of the 9th. Here it comes. Marte hits it sharply to short. Force play at second, and the Cardinals hold on. 6-5 the final. They take 2 of 3. They win 4 of 6 during the homestand to start the second half. And it was Paul Goldschmidt with a big blast. He needed it. The Cardinals needed it. And they picked up the win.
Well, it wasn't easy. This came in the 7th inning. This is Goldschmidt, the 3-run shot. And that proved to be the difference. Home run number 18 on the season. 43 RBIs now. And he's our Budweiser player of the game.
So it is off to Cincinnati. 8-game road trip coming up. 4 with the Reds, 4 with Pittsburgh. Next, it's the post-game show.